Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Salt Lake City Snowhawks expansion franchise here on Madden 25, and welcome to our Year 1 off-season episode. Our Snowhawks come off a 4-13 inaugural season where we have the number 4 overall pick in the looming 2025 NFL Draft, which we will get to here in this episode, of course, but we'll now look at the free agency pool for the first time, hoping to make a big splash this year. Amari Cooper, Justin Simmons, Ryan Kelly, Patrick Ricard, Stephon Gilmore. So a lot of aging veterans here at the top. I mean, Cooper and Simmons still, very good players, can contribute, but not the kind of guys we're looking for. We were hoping for maybe some impact players coming off their rookie deals, but a pretty bare free agency pool here. Jalen Warren, star dev, same here with Deontay Johnson, but we're not really looking at running backs or receivers. We're looking at offensive line here. David Bakhtiari, Rob Havenstein, both 33 years old. They could definitely come in, for a year and shore up that spot, but we want more long-term options, especially coming in the draft. I think we'll draft a tackle, maybe at 4th overall. Rasul Douglas here, the top corner on the market. It looks like after Stephon Gilmore, Jordan Mason, another running back with star dev. Hopkins at 33 years old. Cam Robinson, maybe someone we make a run at. 29 years old, star dev at 81 overall. Another star dev receiver, Rashid Shaheed, as he wants over $10 million per year. I'm not sure if he's quite worth that. So looking at it, not too much. I mean, Cam Akers, 79 overall, 26 years old with star dev, very interested. But we kind of already have running back settled with Trey Benson, even though he didn't have the best rookie season. But like I'm saying, not the best free agency class, which is kind of a bummer. We have nearly $150 million in cap space to work with. Jedrick Wills Jr. here, star dev tackle. And this is kind of what I'm talking about, coming off his rookie deal. I think we'll definitely make him a priority as one of the best younger offensive linemen on the market. Tutu Atwell, Tershawn Wharton, a star dev D tackle. Maybe someone else we make a run at as a speed rusher. 79 speed and 87 strength at D tackle. It's pretty, you can't teach that. And now we're getting into like the 76, 75 overall type players. So I think we'll go position by position now and kind of just outline. So quarterback Russell Wilson at 36 years old leads the charge, and he wants $15 million plus per year. Then you have Mac Jones, wants about half of what Wilson wants. And he wants about a 3-year deal. Mac Jones. Jameis Winston, he wouldn't be a bad veteran to maybe bring into our quarterback room. Daniel Jones. Zach Wilson, a young guy looking for another shot somewhere, as Bo Nix took that job in Denver. Jake Browning, a scheme fit here at 69 overall, 29 years old, wants a 3-year deal at about $4 million. And he is interested. He's not going to put our quarterback room over the top, but someone to bring more stability to the position. We still have Malik Willis. Definitely open to bringing in another veteran quarterback here in free agency, as you're not going to find your guy, Russell Wilson, up there, 35 years old, 33 years old, whatever it was. Drew Lock, Hendon Hooker down here. Trey Lance at 25 years old, 65 overall, could always bring him back, but I don't think that's the route we're going to go. Maybe we'll take a look at Browning. Definitely not here in this first phase. You get 5 active negotiations in the first phase, and we're really going to just try and target some younger guys with star dev, and guys who are currently in negotiation. So Mac Jones is an interesting option at 72 overall, but he wants a 3-year deal. Not sure if we're going to be willing to pay him, and he already is receiving an offer from one team. No one else, though, receiving any offers at quarterback, so we could probably hold off on that. And again, none of these guys are going to be our long-term options at quarterback, but they'll definitely bring more competition, and hopefully we can find our guy in the draft. At running back, I'd really like to find, a pass-catching, third-down type back. I think all these guys at the top, really Warren, Mason, Akers, can kind of contribute in that role. But I'm not really trying to spend, $5-6 million on a running back already with Trey Benson. We're going to give him the bulk of the carries next year, try to get him developed a little bit more. So we're going to go for someone a little bit more down the board. I mean, Kenneth Gainwell as a third down back would not be bad at all. Even Clyde Edwards-Helaire down here. And then Eckler, a very good third down back. You're not going to rely on him for too much at this stage in his career, now 30 years old, but I think as your receiving back, he could offer a lot in that specific role. So I think we could find, Darrington Evans here interested. Elusive back fits our scheme fit, but we already have Benson, as I've said, so I don't think we're going to go crazy here for running back. Maybe we'll draft one later on. Trey Sermon here, maybe someone to just provide more depth. So quarterback, fullback, kind of bare. Quarterback, halfback, kind of bare. Now fullback, we'll look at that later on. Receiver, we already pretty much have our receiving core solidified with Marvin Harrison Jr., Jahan Dotson, Kadarius Toney. We even re-signed Tylan Wallace. So there are some quality guys here. Rashid Shaheed burner speed. They have Hopkins, Johnson, Cooper, star dev guys, but all a little bit older. Then you have some younger guys here, Elijah Moore, Tutu Atwell, Nick Westbrook, and Kine. Juju Smith-Schuster, both 28. And really nothing too noteworthy after that. Kevontae Turpin could be a very good returner. Maybe we'll look at that. But yeah, receiver, all these positions, quarterback, receiver, running back, not positions we're really going to go after early on. We might revisit and maybe, like eval period 2 or 3 and see if we can maybe get someone who could fill a role. Now at tight end, I was really hoping there'd be someone on the market that we could, pursue as a difference maker at the position, but just no one really on the market. Irv Smith down there, 68 overall. Logan Thomas, they're very interested, but 34 years old, 66 overall. So the top guys really here, Zach Ertz, Austin Hooper, 2 older guys, both out of Stanford. And we have Tommy Tremble here, 25. Harrison Bryant at 27. Greg Dulcich at 25. So none of these guys, going to come in and really be an upgrade. We have Tip Ryman, who had a very good rookie season. Mo Alley Cox as our top 2 there. So I don't think we're going to really pull the trigger on a tight end. Definitely have some guys we're targeting in the draft, though. And out at left tackle, there are some interesting options. Cam Robinson, Jedrick Wills Jr., the top guys, both star dev, but I like Wills Jr. He's younger than Robinson, only 4 overall point difference. Faster, stronger than Robinson, but Robinson a better pass blocker. Wills Jr. a better run blocker. So I do like Wills Jr., and I think he's someone we're going to pursue here. He won $7.43 per year at 2 years. So I think we might even do one better, offer him like an $8 million deal annually at 3 years. Because, as an expansion team, the Salt Lake City Snowhawks, we're probably going to have to overpay for our guys here. Joe Noteboom is interested, 70 overall, not bad. Wants just like $3-4 million a year, maybe as a swing tackle. Someone to provide some interior depth. Jackson Carman, 25 years old at 65. Maybe someone we throw a 1-year contract at. Greg Little interested, but a little bit older down here at 64 overall. At left guard, Patrick McCarry, 75 overall, only 28 years old. Isaiah Wynn, same at 75, but 29 years old. 2 decent guys, not really demanding too much money, 4.88 per year. Both pretty good pass blockers, both serviceable run blockers. So I think 2 guys definitely worth, taking a look at. Then we have Ryan Bates here, who is a scheme fit. And then Royce Newman here, both 28 years old, 72, 71 overall. Robert Jones here, 69 at 26 years old, but not a scheme fit. And then we kind of get down here, 25 years old, Donovan Jennings. Now we'll go to center. And I actually really do like Ryan Kelly, but 32 years old, a little bit older. One's like $12 million on a 1-year deal, which isn't bad, but I feel like if we're more in playoff contention, he's a player we kind of take a look at. Very good attributes across the board, very experienced, obviously. So I think, like I said, if we're a team, kind of on the fritz of playoff contention, he's someone to make a run at, but he wants to go to a contender at this stage in his career. So other options here, Coleman Shelton, who is a scheme fit, wants like $5 million per year. Cade Mays, also a scheme fit at just 26 years old, so he's substantially younger than all the guys here at the top. I mean, only 71 overall, but that would be an upgrade of what we had out there. Cade Mays out of Tennessee, very balanced as a blocker, and only wants $3.5 million. I think we bumped that up to maybe $5 million for 2 years, and we have at least, our starting center for next year if we can't find an upgrade in the draft. Some other decent options here, Robert Hainsey, Brian Allen, Sam Mustipher, who is Nick Gates, who is interested. So maybe a decent backup plan there. Ben Barch, a scheme fit, a little bit younger here towards the bottom. And then at right guard, Dylan Verdon's there at North Dakota State. Not a scheme fit, already getting some offers. Tristan Colon and Kendrick Green scheme fits. Maybe someone, 2 guys we revisit after the initial phase. And Brock Hoffman, Ben Cleveland. So decent options here, at every offensive line spot. Really just depth guys. We have Jedrick Wills Jr. at left tackle. We're probably going to offer a contract to. Left guard, maybe Patrick McCarry. I mean, we have plenty of cap to work with, but I don't want to, just sign free agents for every spot. We have some young guys on the offensive line we still want to work in. That's Isaiah Adams at left guard. And they're probably going to draft an offensive lineman or 2. So I don't want to bring in an overabundance of guys here on the offensive line. Just bring in some quality ones that kind of fill some holes. So at right tackle, kind of the same story, nothing really overpowering. Matt Pert, he's interested. I feel like he or Joe Noteboom at left tackle could be a solid swing tackle for us here in year 2. So that's it for offensive line. I think Jedrick Wills Jr. and I think center Cade Mays here are going to be the guys we offer on the offensive line to start. We could always offer more, but Wills Jr. definitely the priority so far. Need to bring him in to shore up our left tackle spot. And I like what Mays would bring at center, youth, and some potential there to grow along with the rest of our offense. So D end, we're already pretty well equipped. Plus, we have the number 4 pick, which we could use to take a pass rusher if we don't go offensive tackle. But that's not to say, if there was an overpowering pass rusher, someone that would make a total difference on our defense, we probably would pursue them. But really just a bunch of, average, not average Joes, but no premier edge setters, pass rushers. So we're probably going to be pretty bare when it comes to bringing in D ends and edge players, but certainly we'll look to maybe add a D tackle here. Joseph Asai, you love that speed. And there's also Josh Uche up here, although he wants like $10 million. I don't think we're going to shell that out for a pass rusher when we're already pretty well equipped in that spot. So really no one here at the end spots. Maybe we'll find a pass rusher at the linebacker spots. Going here now to D tackle. BJ Hill here at the top, but he wants $12 million, 12.8. And I think once he hits age 30 going into the season, he'll have some regression. And then there's Tashawn Wharton here, 79 speed at 280 pounds. And we definitely could use a D tackle there on the inside who could rush the passer, especially in our sub packages. Not the best block shed, but that 80 finesse move with his speed and strength and that star dev is really what sells me. So I think Wharton and Wills Jr. at this point, 2 guys we target in this initial negotiation period. And then going down the board, DJ Jones and Tier Tart, both scheme fits. And they both are interested as well. Neither has an offer at this point. So probably good backup plans there if we miss out on Wharton, who does have 7 teams interested. So like Wills Jr., we're probably going to have to overpay for him a little bit if we want to bring him into Salt Lake. A few other D tackles here, Derek Noddy. And then Bobby Brown III, only 25 years old, very interested. And he is a scheme fit. 72 speed, 86 strength. The pass rush move is not really there, but the 78 block shed is very good run stopper. Although he does want 9.36. Wharton wants 12.2. So realistically, we'll probably have to offer Wharton like $14 million over 2 years for Bobby Brown III. Probably like $10 million over 2 years. 2 quality targets there at D tackle. Katavius Street, we could always bring him back. He actually played pretty well for us. And if he's still, sitting around here towards the end of the free agency period, along here with Solomon Thomas, both of those guys did not want to re-sign. We'll see if they end up somewhere, or maybe we just offer one of them a 1-year deal to come back, fill out the depth there, as we'll still look to work them in a little bit. Jay Tufele, another guy who was on our roster last year. Maybe we add him back as well. So we're definitely going to monitor our old players here at D tackle, Thomas, Street, and Tufele. And now going to linebacker. Jadeveon Clowney as an edge rusher would be interesting. Put him up at DN, let him just get after the passer. Baron Browning here, I really like, 87 speed at linebacker. And we really need to add some linebackers here in this free agency period. I don't think we have any players on the current roster who could fill a starting role in our linebacking core. So Baron Browning, I really like. The coverage, not that great, but better than everyone else here at the position. Very good athlete, can rush the passer if you need him to on blitzes. And he can play the run pretty well as well. So I think Browning will add him in along with Wharton and Willis Jr. as another guy we're going to pursue here in this opening negotiation period. Azeez Ojulari, he's a pretty good one for a pass rusher. 86 speed, 77 strength. Put him at D end with that 77 finesse move. Good pursuit. But like I said, we really don't need to be paying top dollar for a pass rusher, although he only wants $5.5 million per year. So I think the linebackers, some outside linebackers are there because they're in a 3-4 scheme, but you put them in a 4-3 and they're up at D end. And the D ends are getting a lot more money. So I think that's something that Madden kind of has to figure out when it comes to the demands, because Ojulari, only demanding 5.5. He should be averaging more than guys here like Chauncey Golston. He's demanding 10.2. But I think Ojulari is certainly the better player than Golston. Not a knock on Golston, just the system has to be a little bit better. Any other linebackers here? Really just looking for guys who can play a little zone coverage as well. We'll sort by zone. Got Dylan Cole, Eric Wilson, both older guys, Nathaniel Watson, Chaz Surratt. Really not good coverage here at the left outside linebacker spots. And all these guys a little bit older, besides Watson at 25 years old, 84 speed. And he is a power rusher, can stop the run, play the pass a little bit. So Watson, not a bad option at linebacker. I think if he's sitting there in a couple rounds from now, we'll maybe give him a go. Not getting any offers. So Browning, definitely someone we want to offer. Young linebacker who would be a good start to our core. Now at middle linebacker, Nicholas Morrow, the top guy on the market. Kaiser White, both older. Jack Gibbons here, 26 years old. He's very interested. Not the best athlete, just 78 speed. I kind of like, a little bit more speed in that spot with just 78 change of direction, 79 agility, but high awareness, high play rec, high tackle, high hit power. So 85 pursuit and not bad in coverage with that 75 zone. So someone who's going to come in, not set the world on fire with his athleticism, but someone, assignment based can really excel and make impact plays here and there. So he wants $5 million per year. Two teams already offering him. So I think we got to get in on Gibbons and Baron Browning here. Browning out of Ohio State, Gibbons from Minnesota, two Big Ten guys. As we'll see what else we have here at middle linebacker. A lot of veterans. Deion Jones would be interesting. He had very good coverage ratings. As just like a sub linebacker at this point in his career. Nate Landman, 26 years old. Chris Barnes, 27. Jamie Sherwood here at 25 years old. So middle linebacker pretty deep with some younger guys. Isaiah McDuffie interested. Jordan Hicks interested. So we'll revisit middle linebacker a little bit later on. But definitely want to pursue Gibbons, Willis Jr., Wharton, and Baron Browning. So that leaves just one more offer here in the initial stage of negotiations. And here at right outside linebacker, just a lot of edge setters, a lot of pass rushers here. Yannick Ngakoue. We'll go again, sort by zone coverage. We should have done this for middle linebacker. I think I'll go back and do it. Duke Riley. We had him last year. 3 interceptions for Duke Riley, and he only wants $3.6 million. So another guy like Street and Thomas, like we talked about earlier, if he's still hanging out here later on, might just throw a 1-year contract at him. Marcel Harris, very good coverage ratings. These 3 guys here with 67 zone. Jalen Smith, Kalike Hudson, Akeem Davis Gaither. So like I said, we'll revisit all the linebacker spots later on, but we have 2 guys we're definitely going to pursue. Now at corner, Stephon Gilmore, I think he did make the Pro Bowl actually, but just a little bit too old at 34. Rasul Douglas, though, 30 years old. A scheme fit at 81 overall would be a huge upgrade to what we currently have. And Melton and Jones, 2 rookies from last year, although really would like to bring in more of a slot corner. I don't see any here. I mean, Jordan Lewis has been one of the best, most consistent slot corners since he was drafted out of Michigan. But Jaquan McMillan here at East Carolina, only 25. Not the worst athlete, but not the best either. Good play rec, good man. Zone is decent, 74 press. Maybe someone we could have play slot corner. Any star devs down here? 25-year-old Ambry Thomas, not star dev though. Akello Witherspoon and Shandon Sullivan, 2 veterans here interested. Not sure if we'll make a run at them maybe later on. Jeff Okuda would be nice. 26 years old. Not really a slot guy though. 81 press here from Tre'Davious White. Again, not a slot guy, a little bit older now. So I don't think we're really going to get a premier corner in this year's free agency, unfortunately. I'm not sure if we're going to be drafting one all that early either. Mike Ford, Rocky Sin interested as we get into the 70 overalls. All guys who we could probably make a run at later on. Tyler Hall, only 26 interested. So maybe Rasul Douglas, someone we go after just to bolster our corners a lot. I mean, like I said, we really need a slot guy, but no one is really presenting themselves as that kind of player. Maybe McMillan. He still has some room to grow there at 25 years old, but not the ideal option. Hopefully the draft, we can find a slot guy, but I don't think there were too many of them. Douglas only wants $7 million per year. Definitely could come and be our number 1 corner, but he's not even being pursued right now, so I think we could hold off a little bit and offer Douglas in the second iteration of free agency. So that leaves us now at safety. Justin Simmons has that X factor, 10 teams interested, so we're not going to get in on a bidding war for Simmons. Also only 83 speed, not good for safety, but definitely makes an impact, and he'll probably go to a winning team. Spent last year in Atlanta. Quandre Diggs, versatile defender there on the back end, a little bit older now though. Elijah Molden at 26 years old. Same here with Quentin Lake, Jason Pinnock, Damar Hamlin, Derek Forrest, a bunch of younger guys here. Although I do like Molden, just 26 years old at 77 overall. Good man zone, good press. Maybe we could find our nickel corner here in the safeties, but I don't know if Molden really that guy. Maybe Diggs, I think he played a lot of slot there. Seattle, Detroit. Really just looking at press at this point. I mean, Israel Mukuamu, very high press, but 6'4", definitely not a slot guy. Someone you want on the outside or, back there at safety. Terrell Burgess, not terrible. Andrew Wingard, loved him coming out of Wyoming. But again, all these guys, none of them really, getting any negotiations at this point, so we can hold off. But I kind of do like Elijah Molden, although we already have Jalen Thompson at free safety, so not necessarily a position we need to go after, unless there was, someone very good out there on the market who would be a good like long-term option at the position. Derek Forrest, maybe we go after later on just to add some depth, just being that he's interested, a little bit younger. Strong safety Jimmy Ward at 34 years old, Xavier Woods 30, Marcus Epps 29, Afitu Melifonwu 26. I kind of like him. Decent athletics at 6'3", 213, good zone, decent press. Going down the board a little bit more, Donovan Wilson, Richie Grant, I really like Isaiah Simmons, 6'4", 238. And they have him back at strong safety, obviously like a hybrid type guy, safety linebacker. Spent some time with the Cardinals before being traded, so I think he's someone we could bring up back into the linebacking core, maybe put at right outside linebacker with Gibbons there at middle and Baron Browning there at the strong side. And maybe that could be our linebacking core for next season. Very interesting route to go. Ronnie Harrison Jr., loved him coming out of Alabama. Someone maybe make a run at later just to play back up there at strong safety. So that's kind of our run through this free agency class. Nothing over the top, but there are a few decent pieces I like that we can bring in that will make an impact, on this football team. Evan McPherson here to start dev kicker. Yeah, he's actually somewhat interested along here with Jake Bates. Love Jake Bates there. What a story he was out of the UFL, now with the Lions. Definitely need to bring in a punter, though. And we have Ryan Stonehouse here, star dev. And he does have an offer, but I don't think we're going to be going after a punter here in the initial negotiation period, although 99 kick power and 85 speed. So not only does he have a boot, he has some speed to boot with it. So now we'll go at our active negotiations, and we are going to start off here at left tackle with Jedrick Wills Jr. We'll take a look at his player card. At 26 years old, that's star dev, 6'4", 307. So if he doesn't work out at tackle, it's been kind of up and down for him there in Cleveland. I think he's someone that would thrive with the move to the interior, but we'll still let him go out at left tackle. Very low, morale, kind of with our roster. A losing season is not good for development, but we're going to go ahead and offer him a contract here. I guess I couldn't do it at that player card menu, so we'll try it again here. Negotiate with Jedrick Wills Jr., and the medium risk has 2 years, 2.6, 4.8 bonus, but we're going to go up to low risk, player friendly, 3 years, $3 million, 5.6. And we'll even bump up this salary to 3.5. We'll go over 6 on the bonus, and that'll be a 3-year offer at $29.1 million for Jedrick Wills Jr. as we bump up his demand by about $2 million per year. And that strength on the offer, not as much as I thought it would be. So we'll just have to hope for the best there. Maybe should have bumped it up even more, as San Fran does have us beat. So I guess we could go in and manipulate it. I wish it didn't really even give you that option, but we can't just sit idly by and let our division rival steal Jedrick Wills Jr. So we have to bump it up even more. We're going to have to go to 4 years instead. $3 million and go 5.8 on the bonus. 4 years, 35.2. And I think that might have even dropped us down even more. If we just go all the way over, we'll go very friendly, very player friendly on the offer and see if, the game's contract that they give us worked, and it did not. So it's going to be very tough. We're going to have to go 4 years. We'll just go very player-friendly 4 years, bump up the salary to $4 million, and we'll go $7 million on the bonus. So it was a 3-year, $30 million offer, has turned into a 4-year, $44 million offer, and that one does put us ahead of San Fran. So still after that, still $136 million in cap space. I don't know if we're going to go after Cade Mace here. We have to, I guess, because he does have one team bidding for him already. But we'll go to Wharton and Baron Browning first. So Wharton here, the speed rusher. We'll take a look at his player card as well. And star dev, speed rusher at 77 overall. Not far off from being a scheme fit with that run stopper, but 80 finesse move, 72 block shed, 87 strength with 79 speed, high play rec at 82. Good hit power, pursuit. So Wharton, someone who's obviously going to be a starter on our defense, but once we build a little bit more, get some more guys in, probably we'll dwindle into maybe just a pass rush kind of guy. And for him, we'll go player-friendly contract, low risk. That's going to be 3 years at $42 million, kind of more than I would want to pay for him, but we know that's kind of the case here. We'll go up to 6.8 salary, 7.5 bonus, and we'll see how that offer goes. As it's going to be a tough one here. Carolina, New Orleans, Houston, Denver, all up there as well 8 teams in the hunt, and his interest bar on us was already so low to begin with. So I don't know how promising it is for Wharton here. We might have to bump up the offer even more, actually. We'll go 7.7 and then 7.2 salary. 3 years, 44.7. I don't know if we bumped it up much, but a little bit as we now trail Houston. We'll just leave it at that for now. I don't know if, being at the top really makes that big of a difference as long as you have the 4 green bars and you're there in the hunt. So Wharton and Willis Jr. we have bids on now as we dwindle down to $122 million in cap space. Baron Browning now, he has 3 teams interested, and for him we'll just go very player friendly. Going to be 4 years at 27.6, so about $7 million per year. And I really would like to get Baron Browning. We do have the top offer on him, competing with Detroit, Green Bay, and the Jets. And I do want to offer Jack Gibbons, very interested in playing in Salt Lake. You like to see that, as he's demanding about $5 million per year. Again, we'll go player friendly. We'll bump it up to 3.5 guaranteed, 2.8 salary, a 3-year deal at 18.9. I think 6.3 per year. And it does say we trail the Rams there, so I think we will just bump it up a little bit just to be safe. Make that 21 million and even 7 per. And that actually dropped us down, I think. So we'll try again. We'll just go 3.3 salary, 4 even on the bonus. And I think that ought to do it for Jack Gibbons. Although we shall see. New England and the Rams giving him pretty good deals. So we have 4 active negotiations right now, which leaves us with 1 more we could go for. I do like Rasul Douglas. I think next negotiation period will give him a run. Same here with Jaquan McMillan. The safeties are kind of a crapshoot. I mean, Simmons is really the only guy getting offers at this point, so we could really hold off on the safety market, see if maybe one of these guys emerges as a potential nickel corner for us. Although Jimmy Ward has a few offers there, but we're not pursuing him either. So 1 more negotiation we can go for. And I think it has to be Cade Mays, if not Isaiah Simmons. I really would like to bring Simmons to be our right outside linebacker, but I think Cade Mays, knowing that he is garnering some interest at this point, I think we have to give him a deal. And he only wants 1 year, but I wouldn't even mind going all the way up to 3 years for him, just being that he's 26. If not a starter, I think he could be a very good backup center for us over the duration. So let's see where that puts us. So that puts us over Cincinnati by a good bit. So we'll go over to our targeted right now and see what we're working with. So Tershawn Wharton, we're battling right now with Denver, Carolina, New Orleans, and the Saints, as we gave him like a $15 million AAV. Then Jedrick Willis Jr. we're trying to overpay for against San Fran. Definitely do not want the 49ers to come away with him. Jack Gibbons, we're going to hopefully bring in, overpaid for him quite a bit, but the Patriots, Rams right there as well. Baron Browning, really would like him. I think he's a potential star with that star dev. And then Cade Mays, hopefully, a slight upgrade on the offensive line, but I think he'd be a long-term option. Maybe not as a starter, but as somebody who could bring some continuity to our offensive line, even if he's a backup. So we'll go ahead, we'll simulate this first period of free agency. I haven't done a Madden offseason in so long, so I'm really excited for it. And I hope we have some good news here, as it doesn't show us any accepted contracts. So I don't know if either they signed elsewhere, we just didn't get that yet. So we got Gibbons and Cade Mays to sign. And it looks like everybody else signed elsewhere. So we only get Cade Mays and Jack Gibbons. As we go over to left tackle. And yeah, Willis Jr. is off the market. So he did sign with the 49ers. We had a better offer, but his interest bar was just so low that I think it was really hard to try and make up any ground against the 49ers, as he's headed to the division champs. And who else did we have? We had Baron Browning. He goes to Detroit. Aziz Ojulari signed with Washington. Let's see, who else did we have? I already forget. Let's go to Tershawn Wharton, as he signed with the Broncos. So we missed out on really our top 3 guys. I mean, no disrespect to Jack Gibbons. We like that he was already interested, and he signs that 3-year deal. And then Cade Mays signs a 3-year deal as well. So neither of these guys with star dev. In fact, we missed out on the other 3 guys we wanted who all had star dev. As we'll kind of see here, Amari Cooper to the Steelers, Justin Simmons to the Packers, Ryan Kelly back to Indy, Stephon Gilmore to Indy, Jalen Warren to the Raiders, Deontay Johnson to the Bears, Hopkins goes to the Lions, Jimmy Ward to the Broncos, Brian Anger to the Ravens, as we'll now have to reevaluate and see what we're going to do here in this new cycle. So that did not work out how I wanted it to or how I expected it to, but still, at least we brought in a couple guys. And as I said, I'm still, I haven't done a Madden franchise in such a long time, and I forgot that you have 3 eval periods each week here in free agency. So a learning process going through this franchise with the Salt Lake City Snowhawks, but we'll get there. And maybe, if we had realized that, we would have been able to go in and renegotiate up some offers, but whatever, we'll live with it. As Jedrick Wills Jr. goes to the 49ers, Treshaun Wharton goes to the Broncos, and Baron Browning goes to the Lions. So now I have to kind of flip our outlook, but we will go back to left tackle, and I was pleasantly surprised to see that Cam Robinson is still available. He was our second option. I thought he would be signed by now, but our second option there behind Wills. Robinson, 90 strength. You love that. Not a great run blocker, but very good pass blocker, and we throw the ball a little bit more than we run. So I think Robinson would still be a good fit. A little bit older than Wills, but still has that star dev, 81 overall. So I think it said 1 team was in on Robinson, 5 teams in on Robinson. So we will have to up the offer. And I think I learned that you got to overpay a little bit more. So I think salary will even go up to 6.5. Bonus go to 7.5. So it'll be 3 years for $42 million, but pretty much $13 million per year. But being this expansion team, we do have to overpay. And even that one, the Rams are outbidding us by quite a bit. So let's go to very player friendly. But I don't know if I want to go 4 years here on Robinson until he's 33. I think he's going to start showing some regression here in the next year or two. So by that 4th year, I don't really know about that. So we'll stick at player friendly with the 3 years. We'll go up to 7 salary and 8 for bonus and make it 3 years at $45 million. $15 million per year here for Cam Robinson, and still that is not enough to outbid the Rams. So I kind of felt bad overpaying for these players, but at this point I really do not. I think we will have to go 4 years at $8 million on the bonus, and that still does not even outbid the Rams. So even though we have all this cap, we're not going to be egregious with it. We're still going to spend wisely. And Robinson, if he was a couple years younger, I wouldn't mind going 4 years and really upping the offer, but I think he wants a lot more than his market value, so we'll just pull off there on Robin. I don't know. We really could use him now at left tackle. I just don't like the 4. We'll try it again. I mean, we had $7 million salary, I think, and $8 million for the bonus. That still wasn't enough. What if we go 8.5, 7.5, which would make it 4 years at $64 million? That is quite the offer for Robinson, and that does get us up there with the Rams, but I really do not feel good paying that much. So we will withdraw that offer. We're out on Cam Robinson, unfortunately. So I think that all but solidifies our case of going offensive tackle at 4th overall. Brady Christensen here, power archetype, 88 strength, and pretty good traits across the board. What was he demanding? I wouldn't mind bringing him on like a 2-year deal just kind of as a stopgap. And he actually has no offers, so I think we can go 2 years, maybe even lower the guaranteed money to like 3, bring up the salary a little bit. So 2 years at 11.6. I don't think that's too bad. A lot less than what Robinson and Wills were demanding. So I think Brady Christensen, not a bad, 3rd option just to bring him in for a couple of years. Maybe he starts the 1st year. Hopefully we got a little upgrade going into that 2nd season. We still did have Joe Noteboom and Matt Pert at right tackle, but more swing guys. So I think we'll hold off on them for now. But kind of a bummer there. Robinson just demanding so much money. Looks like he's going to be a Ram, and Wills Jr., of course, he missed on him. So we'll kind of just go down the board now. We have 10 offers we can distribute in now this 2nd week of free agency. Russell Wilson, still no offers there at $15.5 million, what he's seeking. Mac Jones does sign with the Rams, as Matt Stafford, shockingly, kind of retired there. So they get Mac Jones for 3 years at just over $7 million per. Not a bad deal. As now the Raiders and our Salt Lake City Snowhawks, really the main players here in the quarterback market. So I thought about Zach Wilson, kind of interesting. The former number 2 overall pick, kind of still seeking, his chance to make it. But we have Malik Willis, so I think we already have, like our young quarterback with upside. So instead, I am going to go back to a guy we mentioned earlier, Jake Browning. Nothing special, but that prototypical, backup quarterback who can get out there and hit his spots. Overall wise, better than what we currently have on the roster here in Zappe and Willis. Not the strongest arm, but very good accuracy, especially there short and medium. And that's kind of all we need. We're not a team, stretch the field too much, just dump it off for our playmakers, let them make a play. And I mean, he's not a bad athlete himself with 80 speed, 83 acceleration, 77 agility. So I think bringing him in as, more so of a long-term backup at quarterback, but someone who can maybe compete here in in year two, especially if we can't find a quarterback in the draft. So I don't mind going with this medium risk, just how they base it. I'll put the bonus down a little bit. So we'll do 3 years at $12 million for someone who can maybe start at quarterback this year, at least maybe start a few games, but more likely a backup to a younger guy we draft this year or next year. And then at running back, I did want to sign a pass catching back. We see here at the top, Jaylen Warren, pretty much the only running back to sign, along with Dare Ogunbowale here. He signs with the Seahawks, so we have an 82 overall and then a 62 overall signed contract so far as running backs are concerned. Cam Akers now getting some interest, but we do have Trey Benson. If we didn't have Benson, I would definitely be in on bringing in Akers. So instead, I think we'll elect maybe Antonio Gibson here, Kenneth Gainwell. We'll simulate another cycle and see what veteran back is kind of laying around here. Eckler only wants like $3.5 million, and I think he would fill the role as our pass catching back very, very well. So I think we'll revisit that. Fullback, I'm not really going to go after quite yet. Tight end, nothing doing. Left tackle, we already pursuing Christensen now. I really wanted to go after Cam Robinson, but just not going to be in our plans, unfortunately. Let's go over to defense, and we did miss out on Treshaun Wharton to the Broncos, 2 years at about $24 million per season, 24.5. So he was a speed rusher we're really hoping to get, kind of mixed into our sub packages, but obviously he would be a 3-down player from the jump until we get some better personnel. But instead, I'll go with a guy who's already interested here, Bobby Brown III at a Texas A&M, 75 overall run stopper. Not going to provide too much as a pass rusher, but you love that 76 block shed, 86 strength, and the athleticism, not bad. He also comes from a bad team with low morale, so we're going to give Bobby Brown a contract offer, have him and Darius Robinson as our base D tackles, and maybe in the draft we can have someone with a little more speed, someone who can get after the quarterback in our sub packages. So I wouldn't even mind going 3 years for him at 25 years old, but he wants a lot. And let me go back, see if anyone was pursuing him. So Bobby Brown had one team interested. We'll go up to player friendly, give it 3 years, but salary 5, bonus 5.5. And that's pretty good on the offer bar. We'll see where we're looking. So we do have Carolina beat for Bobby Brown III. So we'll go on with his negotiation. Then I think later on we'll revisit Kentavious Street and Solomon Thomas. Maybe bring one of these guys back as our pass rusher from the interior. And then there were a couple pass rusher, like reserve pass rushers I like. Going down here to left end, Darrell Taylor I really like as a speed rusher. Very balanced game, 73 for speed rush and run stop, and 72 for power. Has 84 speed, 86 strength. You really like that combo coming off the edge with very good block shed and 73 finesse moves. So honestly, more of a run stopper, but someone who could still get after the quarterback. So I wouldn't mind bringing him in as like a rotational along with Deatrice Wise, Xavier Thomas as our pass rushers if we don't add someone in the draft. And then at right end, there was someone I wanted to look at as well. Another younger guy, Joseph Osai here. So I kind of want to pursue either he or Darrell Taylor. Osai more of a power rusher. Good speed there at 85, 80 strength, 77 power move, 68 finesse and block shed. So both of these guys pretty good, especially for younger guys. I think both 25 years old. Someone to just work into the pass rush rotation. Osai wants about 6.5. How much does Taylor want? And Taylor wants about $6 million. So they both kind of want the same. I think we'll simulate one more because I'm kind of torn on one of them. I'm not really sure who I prefer. So we'll sim ahead one more and see if they get any action. And then we'll go over to linebacker. I mentioned Jadeveon Clowney would be a nice, rotational pass rusher, but I prefer someone younger at this point. So we're only able to bring in Gibbons for linebackers. I also like Nathaniel Watson, as I said. He can get after the passer a little bit, and he has good speed, some coverage traits, and he can play the run as well. So I kind of like Nathaniel Watson as like a reserve linebacker, someone who can maybe go up front, rush the passer. We'll give him a 2-year deal at 7.4, as he had no one else pursuing him. So maybe we can get lucky with a cheaper deal. Now at middle linebacker, we did bring in Jack Gibbons, but I don't think we're done yet. We could always bring back a Landon Roberts, but I don't know if that's really the call at this point with Gibbons brought in. Although Gibbons, I wouldn't mind putting at strong side linebacker just because of his lack of athleticism there in the middle. But there are a few guys here. Troy Dye, KJ Britt, Jack Sanborn, none of them getting offers. I think one of these guys we could bring in on a 1-year deal just to provide a little more athleticism to our linebacking core. Troy Dye is a scheme fit, and he's the best athlete of all three of these guys, although a little bit older. Sanborn has the best block shed, all pretty even in pursuit, but Sanborn cannot drop back into coverage, so it really comes down to, I think, Britt and Troy Dye here, and they're pretty even when it comes to playing the run. Britt a little bit better on the play rec, but Dye a little bit better of an athlete, so I think KJ Britt will throw a contract at. Dye a little bit more athletic, but a little bit older. Maybe Britt, still has some room to grow. And then there's also Nick Neiman here, who I should have picked in the expansion draft instead of Donald Parham there from the Chargers. He has absolutely no block shed. The zone isn't that great, but a good athlete with the 78 pursuit, 74 hit power. So probably more of a reserve linebacker, special teams type guy, but I do like that athletic profile. And I think Nick Neiman is someone who can add some depth to our linebacking core. So I will actually go ahead and offer Nick Neiman. And I really appreciate the fact that he is interested. I'm kind of taking that into consideration with these guys. So Nick Neiman, also I guess his brother here, Ben Neiman, both out of Iowa, both on the market, bringing the Neiman brothers. But I think for now we'll just target Nick Neiman, just a cheap 1-year deal, low guaranteed money, and see if he offers that or accepts that. And then I think we'll just hold off on Britt for now, but I am intrigued for sure. So that's Britt. And then either Taylor or Osai at pass rusher. And then we want to revisit running back as well. I don't think we had anyone here at right outside linebacker. Maybe Duke Riley will revisit along with Solomon Thomas or Cantavius Street a little later on. So now to corner, and I really wish there was someone better on the market. As we see Stephon Gilmore to the Colts, Adoree Jackson to the Lions, Isaiah Rodgers to the Panthers. And we do miss out on Jaquan McMillan as he signs with Tampa Bay. So he is not a slot option anymore. And it looks like those are all the corners that have signed. So I think we will make a run here at Rasul Douglas. Now he does have 6 teams offered, so maybe we should have pursued him in the first phase. And seeing as how he wants a 1-year contract, I don't really mind going, high bonus. I think we'll even bump his bonus up to 5, go salary at 3, a straight 1-year, $8 million deal. And we're going to be pretty even. The Giants, Panthers, Bears, Lions, all in on him. So I think we have to bump it up even more, go 1 year. We'll go 3.5 salary, 5.5 for the bonus, and make it a $9 million deal. Give him $2 million more than what he's even asking for. But I don't even know if that's going to outbid the Panthers or the Giants, as they were kind of up there too. I don't really want to go 2 years here for Douglas. I think by next year, next free agency, we can maybe find an upgrade at corner. So we'll just bump it up even maybe to $10 million here for Rasul Douglas. Go 5.5. Bonus, 4.5 salary, give him 1 year, $10 million to be our corner 1, and hopefully that gets the job done. And with all our cap space, we could just bump up these contract offers, immensely, but we do want to preserve some cap going into next year. The year after that, we don't want to be irresponsible, especially, it is a pretty weak market, a pretty weak free agent pool. So hopefully the next couple of years we have more to work with. And I think for our slot corner, we are just going to have to go ahead and bring back Avonte Maddox. He wasn't bad last year. We were hoping to get a little bit of an upgrade in that spot, but I just don't really see a better option on the market. So I think we'll hold off on him, kind of with our other guys we were talking about, Street, Thomas, Duke Riley. As he's not getting any offers, I think we could just swoop in there and get him, in the final stage. So now to safety. And there was someone over here who was interested. That's all right. Derek Forrest out of Cincinnati, former 5th-round pick of Washington. So pretty balanced safety. He does have that zone archetype, which is a scheme fit for us, but also pretty good run support with that 79 pursuit, 86 hit power. The tackling, not the best, but you like that hit power. And the zone at 72, not the best for his own safety. So I think he's someone we could bring in and kind of mold if we want to make him like a run support guy rather than a zone guy, because I think there's higher demand on an athletic run support safety. And just being that he's interested, kind of what we said with Nick Neiman, I think we'll go after Forrest, just give him like a 1-2 year contract offer as a backup. And we'll just stick with this base offer that the game already cooked up for us. So we gave him a 2 year, almost $3 million per. And now that brings us to strong safety. And I really did mention we want to go after Isaiah Simmons here. And I don't even mind going 3 years. We'll go $3 million, $2 million bonus. So it's only a 3 year, $15 million offer for Isaiah Simmons to come in and play weak side linebacker, maybe mix him back there at safety as well. So that brings us to 8 offers for active negotiations. I think maybe we should go after Darrell Taylor or Joseph Asai, kind of decide right now who we like more. So Taylor has the 84 speed, 86 strength, low play rec though, balanced pass rusher with 78 block shed. The tackling, hit power, pursuit, they're all in the low 80s. And he won $6 million. What about Osai? He was more of a power rusher, I remember. Here he is, Joseph Asai. So 85 speed, 80 strength, and like Taylor, low play rec, but Taylor a much more balanced pass rusher. And I think he was better playing the run as well. So I think Darrell Taylor, we're going to make a run at, I believe, a former second, third round pick out of Tennessee. And we'll have him as a rotational pass rusher this next season. We'll lower it a little bit. We're not too high on him. Just, kind of fill a roster spot. Still might have some upside. And as now that brings us to 9 active negotiations. And with that, I think we'll just let it ride into the next phase. So like we didn't do last period, we can click on the left stick here. And that kind of moves us forward here in the eval period. So now we have 4 active negotiations. Christensen, Watson, we're now down behind Buffalo 4. Taylor still nothing. And Nick Neiman still nothing. So we did get some signings. We signed Isaiah Simmons, Bobby Brown, Derek Forrest, and Jake Browning. So I think we signed every player. Oh no, we missed out on Rasul Douglas. We gave Douglas the 10-year offer, or I'm sorry, the $10 million offer. And where did he go? He went to Chicago, so we missed out on Browning, Douglas, Wharton, and Wills Jr. As Cam Robinson does in fact sign with the Rams. So that's kind of a buzzkill now. We're really thin at corner, and that kind of becomes a really pressing need as all these guys have now signed pretty much. Shaquille Griffin, Mike Hughes, none of these guys, really upgrades over what we're currently working with. And I guess we will just go ahead and sign Avonte Maddox, give him that 1-year offer, as we're now at 93.6 in cap space. And now let's go over to running back, see how that's shaping up. Mason goes to Baltimore, Cam Akers to the Giants, Khalil Herbert to Cincinnati. And then we have Gibson and Gainwell down here. Gibson does have an offer, and he only wants 4.2 per year, and he does have star dev. So I think for a receiving back, with all the money we have, maybe we just make a run at him, even though we don't really need to. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, someone we were thinking about, along with Eckler. So I think maybe we just put like a passive offer in on Gibson. See if he offers. We'll go 3 years at 13.5, not really much guaranteed. I'm not sure if that's going to put us ahead for him, as we do still trail the Steelers. So we'll just withdraw on Gibson. So it really comes down to Eckler, Gainwell. I do kind of like Gainwell, although the receiving back archetype not as good in the game as I want to say it is in real life. Just 68 catching, 65 short route, which isn't bad. And I want to say he actually did play receiver in college, or maybe I'm wrong on that. Maybe it was Gibson who played receiver in college. They both went to Memphis here, Gibson and Gainwell. And then Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Eckler. I really don't even know. I like that Eckler only wants 1 year. And I kind of like his veteran presence. So I think we'll just offer Eckler a 1-year deal. Nothing, too glamorizing. But I think for our offense, he'd prove to be a good fit. Go 1 year, $3.6 million, just filling out the roster, filling that third down back role, as he's been one of the best doing that over the course of the last few years. Andrew Beck signs with the Texans, wide receivers. Rashid Shaheed also goes to the Rams there with Cam Robinson, Tutu Atwell to the Denver Broncos, Hardy to the Ravens. And I also did want to maybe pursue a return man here, as there is Cavante Turpin, but at 29 years old. I don't know if, going into next year, hitting 30, if that will show some regression. I think that does happen in this game. There's also Jamal Agnew, 30 years old, a really good return man. Robert Woods down here signs with the Saints, Terrace Marshall to the Commanders. I think we'll hold off on that for now as well. And then really all that was left on middle linebacker, KJ Britt. I don't think we offered him, just to bring some more competition to our linebacker room. And he does not have an offer to this point, so I think we could even go team friendly on this one, just a 1 year, $3 million deal. So I don't think there was really anyone else. Really bummed out that we missed on Douglas. That was kind of, I thought, a done deal to, give us a solid number 1 corner for next year. But instead we'll have to look elsewhere, maybe to the draft, but I don't know if we're going to be able to afford that, especially if we stand pat at 4th overall. Maybe we should just go to D tackle here and offer Thomas or Contavious Street. Street does have interest in re-signing. Thomas has none, so I think we'll just throw a 1 year deal here at Contavious Street. 1 year, 5. I think that's even too much. Go 1 year, 4.4. Try and bring him back. He was disruptive. I think 3 or 4 sacks for him, as he'll inherit the speed rusher role for us. So that leaves 2 active negotiations. Really no one else I wanted to even pursue. I think we'll go here to outside linebacker. Just, some a depth linebacker that I always liked. Big Michigan fan, so we're going to go after Cameron McGrone here. Just bring him in to be a special teamer. Nothing crazy. Just 1 year, $2 million. See if he accepts that. So I think now we're ready to advance again. I don't think we really had any resistance for any of these guys. Christensen, still the only offer for him. Maddox, Eckler, Watson, we might have to bump up that offer, though. Darrell Taylor, Tavius Street, KJ Britt, McGrone, Nick Neiman here. So, nothing over the top in this free agency. Just bringing in guys to kind of fill spots, stop gaps. And, building the foundation of this team really starts in the draft. So that's kind of what I'm looking forward more so to. So we'll advance again here. And I don't know if anyone signed. I think we might have got one signing. I wish they did a better presentation with this. Kind of hard to keep track. So Darrell Taylor does sign. 28 years old, 73 overall. Going to put him at right end. So he will be a scheme fit for us as a rotational pass rusher there with Dietrich Wise and Xavier Thomas. So still targeted. Still Christensen, Maddox, Eckler, Street, Britt, Neiman, McGrone. So I think, who did we, Watson, I think he signed elsewhere. I forget what team we were bidding with. Did we? I don't think we even upped his offer. I'm so shot. I think I forgot to up his offer, but it doesn't really matter. We have Britt, Neiman, McGrone, so 3 other linebackers we're going to bring in with Jack Gibbons. So not a huge loss there, although I did really like his skill set. So we could stand pat with all these offers until the next week here in free agency. We have one more negotiation period in this phase. And I don't really think there's anyone else I want to go after at this point. I think we'll wait till the end to maybe go after a fullback, maybe go after a punter or a kicker. But for now, we'll just advance to the last eval period of this stage. And Christensen, Street, Britt, McGrone still here. My signings, we got Maddox, Eckler, and Neiman. I think KJ Britt. Oh no, Britt's still here. So I think we got all those other guys who aren't still here in active negotiations. So that brings us now to 8 signings, 10 signings. And as I said, nothing groundbreaking here. Just guys to fill the roster, maybe start a year or 2 until we can kind of upgrade their spots. So that leaves us now with 4 active negotiations. And I think we'll just let it rip again. This is actually the last eval period now here in week 2 of free agency. And we do have our final mock draft here, mock draft 5, which has Roy McBride, number 1 out of LSU to the Titans, the number 1 prospect in this year's draft. And he's been the number 1 projection in 3 out of these 5 mock drafts. Then at number 2, you have Darren Anderson, who we're really hoping falls to 4. But I don't think that's going to be the case. He's been linked to Las Vegas all draft cycle. And it looks like the Raiders are going to get their guy. At number 3 is Nick Madden, who I was super prepared to take with our first-round pick, as he was a top 5 projection, but he came back round 3 to 4. So we'll see where he lands. If he lands before us, we'll definitely take that, as he's not even a target for us anymore. So at 4, they have us taking Brendan Donald, the top tackle in the draft. He tested phenomenally, has good traits, so he very well might be the guy, but only 60% scouted. I think we're going to use, we have 3 private workouts, and we're definitely going to use one on him to try and get him fully scouted and see if he's worth it there at number 4. And then we have Steve Groves, a pass rusher here who we thought about, but after scouting, he comes back as around 1 to 2 talent. So I don't know if that's someone you want to take in the top 5, although he tested very, very well, has a good finesse move. And then just going down the board quick, the top receiver here, Emmanuel Rhodes to Cleveland out of Michigan. Donovan Solomon, the top corner at 6'4", going to the Falcons out of UCLA. John Herrera, another good receiver here to the Saints. And Myron Wake, another tackle here in the top 10. And I think we're going to use 2 of those 3 private workouts to work out Myron Wake and Brendan Donald here. Both, top 10 projected tackles, but I really want to see who is the better player. And I think it comes down to Wake and Donald here for our first ever draft pick as the Salt Lake City Snowhawks. Then a few more pass rushers here, a ton of pass rushers in this year's draft. 4 in a row here. Stanford out of Alabama to the Bears. Connor Carroll out of Ohio State to the Panthers. Josh Cologne, he came back as a 2nd to 3rd round talent, going 12th to the Chargers out of Colorado. Then you have Ruben Fitzsimmons, who is probably my top-rated pass rusher, going 13 here to the Colts. Aries Florence, another very good offensive tackle. I wouldn't even mind taking him with our pick, but it looks like Donald and Wake just the better options. And then we have Jonathan Kilroy here, who is actually the 2nd or 3rd rated player on the overall draft board, but he's slated here 15th to the Jaguars. Someone I'm kind of tempted in scouting on that private workout just because he might be a premier pass rusher, but we just don't have him fully scouted, and he didn't test well either, so that kind of turns me off on him. Laquan Porter, I think, had the most reps on the bench press of any player at the combine. 6'1", 305 there, power rusher for the Vikings. Another D tackle here, Gerald Kidd to the Broncos. He didn't even work out at the combine, but very good traits. Deontez Cheeks to the Giants, another offensive tackle. Another one here to the Jets, Lorenzo Childs. Dontre Franklin, I'm surprised to see him here at 22. I thought he would be up there towards the top 15 a little bit more. Larry Fowler here to the Packers. Someone I'm really hoping is there at our second round pick, but it doesn't look like that is going to be the case. We had him in for a private workout early in this, or actually we set him for our super focused scouting, and he came back a really good player. Kareem Armstead, kind of a fringe first rounder, but graded very well. Vince Willis, the only running back. I wonder if he's related to Pat Willis there. Both going to be projected to be 49ers. And then a couple more guys down here. Lucas McDonald at quarterback. I did not expect to see him in the first round, as they have him slated here 31 to the Seahawks. And I'm strongly considering getting McDonald at 36 in the second round if we're not able to get Darren Anderson here in the first. But that might require a trade up. So maybe we get our tackle at number 4, and then we trade up in the bottom of the first round and snag Lucas McDonald, our quarterback of the future. But that's just a quick feel of the draft class. Of course, we're going to dive into our prospect scouting and all of that just after we're done with free agency. I can geek out on the draft in this game forever, so hopefully this episode doesn't go too long. I know at this point, probably already close to like an hour. Very meticulous, very, tedious process here in free agency and building this team, and I certainly do not take it lightly, as we'll now advance to the final week of free agency, the final week before the NFL draft. And like I said, we'll have a full, draft preview, kind of go over our strategy, look at our draft board as we prepare for that. So our final week here to sign free agents, and I don't really know how many more we're going to bring in. I don't think anyone. So we're still negotiating here with Christensen and Britt. We have signed Gibbons, Simmons, Brown, Maddox, Eckler, Taylor, Forrest, Street, Mays, Browning, Neiman, McGrone, as we've really made an attempt, at filling out this roster. Actually, let's go to fullback. We definitely need a fullback for this offense. Only Reggie Gilliam and Andrew Beck off the board, and they're both going to Houston, so I don't know about that one. Kari Blasingame, you like that 87 speed, but I wonder what the impact and the lead block is. So lead block at 76, impact at 67, not bad. I really do like Patrick Ricard here. Of course, he's had success there in Baltimore, but I prefer a little bit better of an athlete at the fullback position. Blasingame can carry it a little bit. What's his catching at 70? So I do like him. Maybe just offer him a one-year deal to come in to be the fullback. Maybe bring in an undrafted free agent as some competition. Really no one else down here that I would prefer. So yeah, I think we'll offer him a 1 year, whatever he wants, 1 year, $2 million deal to be the fullback of this team. And now we'll go over to punter. Definitely need an upgrade there, as Brian Anger and Ryan Stonehouse, the only ones to sign. No one else even being pursued here. But who is going to be our guy? Matt Ariza here, Jake Camarda, 95 kick power, and 86 speed. You love that speed for a punter, just in case. So I think it really does come down to these two guys, Ariza and Jake Camarda. They each want $2 million a year, and Ariza does have the better kicking stats, although not as fast, but that doesn't really matter as much. So we'll just give him a 1 year deal and have him compete for the punter job in the preseason if he does accept. So now we just have Ariza, Christensen, Blasingame, and KJ Britt. We'll go ahead here, and we get 3 signings, I believe. As Christensen does sign, looks like he'll be the left tackle next season, unless we draft someone there at 4th overall. We also get Kerry Blasingame to be the fullback, Kentavious Street, KJ Britt all signed. So really it just comes down to Matt Ariza now as the punter, and he does sign, I believe. So that's going to be our free agency here in the year 1 offseason. Not too glamorous. We missed out on our top 3, our top 4 options. And I think that's just something we kind of have to get accustomed to until we kind of build a winning pedigree with this team. We're going to have to overpay by a lot, or we're just not going to get players. So hopefully, this free agency crop kind of can solidify themselves as some core players on this team. And then this upcoming draft, hopefully we can work some magic and bring in a few impact players that really establish what we're all about here in Salt Lake City. So now we will get into the NFL draft, and here's a look at the overall board. As we said, Roy McBride, the number 1 player on the board, wide receiver out of LSU, 6'3", 222 at 22 years old. D for deep route, though, A for release. And he tested pretty well, nothing over the top, but definitely good numbers there for a physical receiver. I would assume he's going to have star dev, so I don't think he'll be at our pick at 4, and I'm not really prepared to pick him if he is there, but certainly would have to think about it a lot. Pairing him there with Harrison Jr. would be insane. Nick Madden here, top 5 projection, and he goes down to around 3 to 4 talent after scouting, so we're out on Nick Madden, although he was someone I was definitely eyeing up at our pick. Jonathan Kilroy here, a top 5 pick. We only have him 60% scouted. He has that A block shed, definitely more of a D end in our scheme, but just didn't really test all that great compared to some of the other guys. But Kilroy has been there first, second, third on the board throughout the season. And then we have Myron Wake. So we have Wake here at 4th on the board and Brendan Donnell at 6. And we actually have our player workouts right now. We can have 3 private workouts. And I think I am going to go ahead and schedule Wake and Donnell. Wake has the A awareness and run block. Pass block going to be a little bit lower, though. And he tested extremely well, 4.87 at the 40, 33 reps. And then second and third there for vertical jump and broad jump. So very explosive, very quick, very nimble. And he's strong as well. Then going over to Brendan Donnell. And their testing was actually very close. I think Donnell had he was off by a 100th of a second there at the combine compared to Wake. But I think a better vertical jump, a better broad jump, and very strong as well. Or not as strong as Wake, but two very good tackles. And it's really hard to, differentiate. We kind of will go along the board here, horizontal. They both have A for awareness. And then Donnell is D for pass block power, which I'm very down on. Also, D for run block power. He is an agile lineman, obviously going to be a scheme fit for us, but that's very low for someone you're taking at 4th overall. But we don't even have that uncovered yet for Wake, although he does have that A for run block, A for run block finesse, as does Donnell, and A for lead block. So it looks like we have a little more uncovered here for Myron Wake compared to Donnell, but I think it's a very strong chance at this point. If we don't trade down, which is certainly an option, I think it's going to be Wake or Donnell. Then we have here Steve Groves, a pass rusher, top 5 projection, but around 1 to 2 talent. And he actually came back a pretty good prospect. A finesse move, C for block shed and power, and tested very well. 1st for broad jump, 4th for vertical jump, 2nd for 40-yard dash. So I think he's someone who could be a good speed rusher, but maybe not a top 5 pick. And then here, Darren Anderson, I really don't think he's going to be available, but if he is, we certainly have to think about it. I would prefer to get all the pieces in place before we bring in our franchise quarterback, which would lead us to go for offensive tackle. But Anderson seems to be, a can't-miss quarterback prospect. He's been on the news headlines here in franchise mode about how he's a tremendous leader, a can't-miss quarterback prospect. Very good ratings, too. A break sack, throw under pressure, and A deep accuracy with B medium. And he's a very good athlete as well there as a scrambler. So Anderson likely going to end up with the Raiders, but if he's there at number 4, we certainly have to think about it. And as we go down the board here, well, actually, Ruben Fitzsimmons, someone I really like as well. I was kind of set on going pass rusher here with the A finesse move, C block shed, and I think he was my top guy, elite there for acceleration, jumping, and speed. Tested maybe the best of any pass rusher in this year's draft. So someone to think about, but I don't know if he's a realistic option, with Myron Wake or Brendan Donnell. If we trade down, though, Solomon here, the top corner, Aries Florence, another tackle, Fitzsimmons, other guys that we could maybe think about. But now we'll kind of go to our favorites here, and they really have to fix this. You can't reorder, in this menu. The only way to reorder your board is to just, unselect people that you have favorited and then redo it. So I had to unfavorite everybody I had that was on my favorites and redo it. So it's kind of in a chronological order of where they're projected. So we kind of went over these guys at the top. McBride, Anderson, probably not going to be there. So it'll come down to Donnell or Wake, who we are going to scout here in these private workouts. So I think by then we'll at least have Wake fully scouted. I'm not sure if it goes 35%, maybe hopefully 40% on that private workout, but I'm not sure on that. And then we'll move down this board a little bit. Don't want to spend too much more time in here. I know this has been kind of going on for a long time. Lucas McDonald, the quarterback I mentioned, I think, earlier, very good traits with A short and medium accuracy, B deep accuracy. And look at these numbers in testing at the combine. Ran a 4.42, the fastest of any quarterback. Had the best vert, the best broad, and the best 3-cone. The second best 20-yard shuttle, along with 18 reps. So obviously it's unlikely for us to get Anderson. But McDonald, I wouldn't mind trading up, into the bottom of the first round. We saw there, I think the Seahawks were projected to draft him at 31. So I don't know if we would be able to, work a move to maybe get up there in the late 20s. But definitely something we're going to watch out for. Larry Fowler here, another D tackle I kind of found in the season, and we put him on our super focused scouting for the season. He had B block shed, B finesse, and C power move, so he can get off blocks and he can rush the passer, with finesse or power moves, and tested extremely well, especially there for the 3-cone and the 20-yard shuttle, and then elite strength, 42 reps, the second most of any D tackle. So someone maybe with our second round pick there, which is 36 overall, so very early there in the second. Another guy here we had for super focused scouting throughout the season was Matthew Torrance, and his archetype is zone, but I think he's, he does everything. He can even be a slot guy for us, I think. So I'm very intrigued here by Matthew Torrance. Tested well, 4.45 speed, the highest vertical jump, the lowest 20-yard shuttle of any strong safety. So I really like his versatility with that B block shed, C man and zone, A hit power, B pursuit, and the finesse move is going to be a B or C. So he could really, rush the passer on blitzes. He can cover. He can play in the box. He can play the slot. So Matthew Torrance, someone I really, really like there with our second round pick early on. But it really just depends if we trade down, if we trade up. I'm really uncertain of how it's going to play out. But I really do think the best plan is to probably draft a tackle there at number 4 once we get more info on them. So, and then just kind of moving down the board here, we have a bunch of interior linemen here that were round 3 grades, but then came back as first to second round talents. So we're definitely going to cash in on these guys probably early on day 3. I think Randy Samuels is my favorite. He's someone I found early on just based on his athletics, but he has good traits to match with A, awareness, impact block, B, pass block, C, run block, and a pretty decent showing there at the combine. So we're definitely going to cash in on one of those interior linemen, if not 2 of them, as Buckley, Samuels both have a round 1 to 2 talent. And then we have a couple guys down here with round 2 to 3 talent, but they are projected round 3 and 4. Then a bunch of middle linebackers here, all round 3 to 4 grades. They all tested very well, so we just threw them on the board along here with Chris Poe, Kevin Knox, Brett Aldridge. All these guys tested very well. Neil Abraham here, a pass coverage guy, did not test that great, but he has A-man, A coverage rating, so we're definitely going to add him to the board, see if he's someone we can snag there on day 3. Couple D tackles, and Michael Valdez. And I do want to view the player card, but I hate when you view a player card and then when you leave the player card, it bumps you all the way back to the top of the board. So we're not going to do that yet here. But Valdez was someone early on in the season. He had some draft news about him saying he was a diamond in the rough. So we did scout him for super focused scouting, and his talent was potential undrafted free agent. So he didn't even get a draftable grade, which I was kind of surprised about. But maybe still there's like a hidden dev with him. Then a few tight ends here. George Sweet, I really like. 6'4", 269 possession tight end. There's some draft news here about John Romero, a day 3 middle linebacker that he didn't test, but the attributes are pretty good, so we just threw him on the board. Then a bunch of day 3 guys down here. We even have like 20 undrafted free agents that I was kind of looking at monitoring throughout the season. And one of them here, Ty Eubanks, came back with a day 3 grade along here with Jimmy Garcia, right end out of Toledo, with that undrafted free agent projection, but then still comes back as a draftable talent. So all these guys, we just throw on the board. Maybe we'll throw a dart at the end of the draft, but most likely these are guys we're going to probably add as undrafted free agents. So that's just a little look at the board, and I think now at this point we're ready to jump in. I know we didn't really do a full free agency recap, but I'm not too worried about that. We saw where most of the top guys signed. Oh yeah, but we do have to set those private workouts. So we're going to do Myron Wake, tackle out of LSU, Brendan Donald, tackle out of Ohio State. And then for the last one, I think we'll do that quarterback, Lucas McDonald, as I really want to get a full, view on him, only 60% scouted. Unlikely we're going to get Darren Anderson, so I think McDonald, with that athletic profile, is very intriguing, especially, we can maybe get him at the end of the first, early second if he's still there. So that is going to do it with our private workouts. Very intrigued to see how those players come back, fully scouted, or at least they should be. I hope so, as I think now we can jump ahead. Actually, let's review some trades. I didn't have trades on throughout the year. I just turned them on here in the offseason, and we'll see. And we did get Cavonte Turpin there to be our returner. So the Broncos trade a 6th-round pick and Jaleel McLaughlin there from Cole Holcomb as they get an upgrade there at middle linebacker. Denver does. The Texans trade Titus Howard to the Jets for a 6th-round pick and Isaiah Davis. And then we have the Jags trade Cameron Thomas, who was actually their pick in the dispersal draft. They trade him to the Raiders for Andre James. And that's it with trades. I actually wanted to look at the trade market real quick before we jump into this draft and see if there's anyone on the market. I don't think we'll make a trade before the draft, but I think maybe like a tight end or something. Not sure if we're going to get that position in the draft. Let's look at the trade block to see if anyone kind of sparks our interest. Derek Carr, only 70 overall, and the Saints signed both Russell Wilson and Daniel Jones in free agency, so they have a bunch invested there at quarterback. Also, Spencer Rattler on the trade block. He's an intriguing option. So Washington and Cincinnati both just signed these guys, Mariota and Trey Lance, and already they're on the trade block. That makes no sense at all. Some decent backs here, especially a couple guys with star dev. A few, quality backs up here. We don't really need that, though, depending on how the season shakes out for Trey Benson. See, the tight end, Isaiah Likely. I think he would be a very good trade option. Star dev, and we really, really need a tight end, just 25 years old. I think he's someone who could come in and be the long-term solution. So I think post-draft, we're definitely going to pursue a trade maybe for Isaiah Likely. And we'll just keep going down the board here. Nothing really at offensive line. A couple 75s here, Ingram and Trevor Penning. A couple good ones here at middle linebacker, Alex Singleton. A couple corners. May need to get a corner, but I think we're going to draft somebody, hopefully. And that strong safety, Marte Mapu, has that star dev. So I think post-draft, we might try and pursue a trade there for Isaiah Likely to, complete the offense a little bit. But for now, I think we're ready to jump into our first NFL draft here. I know it was kind of a long build-up, but it's a very meticulous process. I'm very thorough, and I hope you can appreciate that process as we are here at the NFL draft, the first one in this series, the first of many, I hope, as this is definitely my favorite part of playing this game, scouting these players, finding your guys and getting it going. Roger Goodell here to announce the start, as I believe now the Tennessee Titans officially on the clock here at the 2025 NFL Draft. Roy McBride has been the guy linked, but I don't think that's McBride. He looks a little too hefty to be a receiver, as they might have shocked. That is McBride. Wow, he looks a little hefty there, as the Tennessee Titans select a wide receiver out of LSU, Roy McBride. I think Will Levis. I know they have Kyler Murray in this franchise. Kyler Murray there teams up now with the most polarizing receiver in this draft class. Is now Las Vegas on the clock, and they're heavily linked to Darren Anderson, the top quarterback. As Roger Goodell here to announce the second overall pick now. And of course, we're not going to watch every single pick in this draft, but at least the ones early on that they announced, definitely want to see that. And I think that is Darren Anderson, quarterback out of Cincinnati, going to go play there in Vegas and hopefully turn that team around. It's been a long time since the Raiders have had, sustained success, but a change of scenery there in Vegas, a new franchise quarterback. Maybe that's what they need, as now Washington on the clock. And I didn't even realize, we didn't even look at our board to see what Myron Wake and Brendan Donald came back. As Donald came back as a second to third round talent, and Myron Wake came back as a first to second round talent. So I think Wake is the guy, as now here the Commanders select. And I'm kind of intrigued to see where they go. This is kind of where it kind of falls apart a little bit. You don't know what to expect. The first two fell in line. I think that's Madden. I think that's Nick Madden from Georgia, who we had as a third to fourth round grade. And they take him here at number 3. So probably a reach from Washington, as that now sets us up. I think, getting those grades back on Wake as a first to second rounder. A awareness, A impact, C pass block, A run block. Tested very, very well. C run block power, D pass block power. So he is better than Donald grades-wise, maybe even traits-wise as well. What about quarterback? Where did McDonald grade? He graded top 5. Lucas McDonald graded top 5. So I think we can take one of those. We could take Wake, or maybe even trade down, get Wake, and then get McDonald later. We got to pause the draft. We can't do all this with just a minute to work with. So we're getting a few packages here, and I do like to keep it somewhat realistic. And it seems so far some of these offers are pretty realistic. Buccaneers giving us a 1 next year, 23 this year, so that's 19 spots would be going down. Minnesota giving us 16, and then a 2 next year, dropping 12 spots. I don't really want to drop that far, maybe, into the early teens. Washington wants to give us like their whole 2026 draft. They're prepared to give us their 1, 2, 4, 5, and 7. Vegas wants to give us a 1 next year, but we need to pick this year. 13 isn't bad, but we're only going to be getting an extra 3 pretty much, plus a 6 and 7, so I don't think it's worth it to drop 9 spots just to get, like an extra 3. But deals like this where we get a 1 next year plus a late 1 this year and a second and third, that's kind of tempting there from Philly. And then from San Fran, it'd be 27, a 1 next year, a 2 this year. New England's all picks next year. Vegas, all picks, well, not all picks next year, but the big one is Seattle, 31, a 1 next year. This isn't a bad one for Minnesota, but we dropped 12 spots we would drop just for a 2. But I really do like this offer from Tampa Bay, getting a 1 next year. We drop 19 spots. We also get 87. I really like the first round next year. That kind of, puts it over the top for me. But dropping 19 spots is so hefty. But even at 23, with our scouting, I think we could still get an impact player. It might not be Myron Wake or Brendan Donald, but I think it would be a very quality player still. And with an extra 1, that would give us so much versatility in next year's draft. We really have to think of this as a long-term plan, brick by brick. Rome was not built in a day, nor are the Salt Lake City Snowhawks going to be. But we're certainly going to be an empire at some point, and we're going to rule the NFL. And now I'm kind of leaning towards making that trade. Really, I think Philly and Tampa Bay gave us the best offers. Washington's a good offer too, but we just wouldn't get anything back this year. We'd get a 1, 2, 4, and 5, and 7 next year. 5 out of their 7 picks, but we need something this year. We need to bring in some type of piece. And I think Tampa Bay giving us 23 this year. I don't think they're going to be as good next year either. I think they're going to kind of decline a little bit. So next year, that could be a top 15, maybe even a top 10 pick paired with our pick, which will probably be a top 10, if not a top 5 pick. So I think that'll set us up really well for next offseason, along with all the cap room we have. I think next year's free agency crop should be a bit better than what we just dealt with. So I think next offseason we're looking at really building this team. And I think making this trade with Tampa Bay really sets us up well. So I think we will go ahead and pull the trigger. We're going to drop 19 spots, but we're going to profit a first next year, pick 87, 2 7s, and then a 5 as well next year. So let me know what you think about this trade, but we're pulling the trigger as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers trade all the way up to number 4 as we'll resume this draft and see who they take. I'm going to assume they take one of the tackles, but there are a lot of DNs and pass rushers in this draft, so very well could be one of those as well. As Goodell back up there to announce this pick as we pull off a blockbuster trade here on draft day. Again, let me know what you think. I think it sets us up really well for the future. And I'm not sure who that is. Maybe Steve Groves, who I think would be a decent pick for them. And it is Steve Groves, DN, I believe, out of Mississippi State. We had ranked very highly on our board, but came back as a fringe first rounder after we fully scouted him. So that kind of dropped his stock a little bit. So now we're at 23. I got to get reacclimated here as New England up on the clock to round out this top 5 of this 2025 NFL draft. As they select Reuben Fitzsimmons, who I had as our top pass rusher in this year's draft. So a good pick there by New England. As now the Cleveland Browns are on the clock. I think we'll start skipping ahead here. Advance to next pick. As now the Cleveland Browns on the clock. And they select Emmanuel Rhodes, the top receiver in this class out of Michigan. So the Michigan kid is going to Cleveland to play there in Ohio after having some good success there against the Buckeyes during his college career. Michigan has absolutely owned Ohio State, and I had to at least sneak that one in there. Now Atlanta on the clock here, number 7 overall. And I think I saw they took Jonathan Kilroy. I think we will just start skipping. They actually took Donovan Solomon, the top corner in this year's draft, out of UCLA. Now we'll skip the Saints pick as they take John Herrera, receiver out of Miami. And now Dallas on the clock. Still none of these offensive tackles selected yet. As the Cowboys take Myron Wake. And there we go. The first offensive tackle domino to fall here. Now Chicago on the clock, number 10. As they select Josh Cologne. Now Carolina on at 11. And they take Jonathan Kilroy. And I did like him. I think he's going to be a good player. Just didn't test as well as a top 5 pick maybe should. As LA goes with Dontre Franklin. A very good corner. You see B grades across the board there. And the presentation is definitely a lot better, obviously, in this year's game than what we've worked with. As our Indianapolis selects Martin Marion, edge rusher there out of Clemson. As now 14, the Rams on the clock. They go Kenny Widmer, a corner. So now at 15, we have about 8 selections until our pick. And we'll take a look at our board, see who's at the top. So Brendan Donald there He did great as a round 2 to 3 guy. And we still do have Aries Florence here, another offensive tackle. A awareness, A impact, A run block, C pass block. And he tested well first for the 3-cone, second in the vert, and the 40-yard dash, 35 reps at the combine. But that run block power at D injury. So I don't know if he's really going to be any better than Donald. Kind of a shame Donald came back such a low player from where he was ranked. We'll keep simming along here. Jared Tranquil, a pass rusher there to the Jaguars. As now Minnesota goes with Byron Stanford. And he did have some character concerns there at Alabama, although a very good player still. Now Pittsburgh at 17, as they go with Thaddeus Frazier, the third receiver selected in this first round. Now Denver at 18, they go Brendan Donald, so he is off the board there at 18 to Denver, but he did come back, a little bit lower graded on our board, so go to favorites here. So I'm very tempted to just go with Lucas McDonald. Not putting him into the ideal situation, obviously, but I really like his grades. And he came back a top 5 graded prospect in this year's draft, so he might even turn out to be better than Darren Anderson. And if we do select him, if he's still there at 23, we're gonna get him, like 20 spots later in the draft, and add a first for next year, a third this year, as Aries Florence does go off the board there to the Giants. So all the top tier offensive tackles are gone, as now we have 3 more picks before ours. Houston here at 20, they go J.P. Stern, as now we have just the Jets and the Bills in front of us. And I kind of mentioned earlier, I like to keep it somewhat realistic, so I'm not going to, just trade down every single time. Maybe in some rare instances I would do that, but I think here we're going to sit pat at 23 and make a selection. And remember, we also have a pick 13 picks later at 36 in the second, but I really think McDonald is the guy. If he had just a regular round 1 talent, round 1-2 talent, I think it's kind of a different story, but top 5 talent, very good traits, A awareness, C for carrying, B stiff arm, A spin and juke, as the Jets make their selection. Let's see who they go with. Laquan Porter, D tackle out of Oklahoma. First D tackle, I believe, to go off the board. So short accuracy and medium accuracy at A. B deep accuracy and throw on the run at B. Throw under pressure and break sack at A. Play action, not great, but that's really his only blemish, I would say. 6 foot 206, only 21 years old there out of Georgia Tech. The top athlete at quarterback in this year's draft. Look at all those A grades across the board. I think McDonald is the guy. As I said, not the ideal situation to bring him in here in this Salt Lake City Snowhawks expansion team, just going into year 2, but still I think it could be a valuable year for him, as Buffalo does make their pick, and they go with Jamison McCoy, a corner there out of Texas A&M. So looking at our favorites, McDonald is our top guy. We have Connor Carroll here, not fully scouted though. Otherwise, it'd probably be Larry Fowler or Matthew Torrance, but I'm really hoping one of those guys is there in the second round. So we are going to get our franchise quarterback here as we select Lucas McDonald out of Georgia Tech. And Lucas McDonald, the first draft pick ever in Salt Lake City Snowhawks history, is going to come in and hopefully be our franchise guy. Love the bow tie, great first impression. Kind of looking like a magician out there. And hopefully that's what he brings to the football field. You would kind of expect magician-type tendencies from a guy that runs a 4.4 and can whip the ball around. And we get an A+, excellent pick, as he's ranked 2nd in true value. We drafted him at 23. And, the most memorable part of it is we get a first round next year, along with a bunch more picks. Scouting report, elite intermediate accuracy, processes the defense quickly, excellent deep accuracy. And he does have that hidden dev, 89 acceleration, agility, 88 change of direction. As the lines there go with Deontez Cheeks, another offensive tackle. McDonald, 82 jumping, 93 speed, 70 strength, and 90 throw power, which of course is more than sufficient, barring his skill set. So we get an A+ for the first pick in this franchise, and I'm really happy about that result. So advance a few more picks here as Green Bay goes with Jimmy Connor. Now Kansas City on the clock. They go Larry Fowler. That's who we wanted at D tackle. And the Chiefs take and leave it to Andy Reid to make a good pick here, especially a lineman. As now going back to our board here, favorites. Carroll, we just don't have him scouted enough, which is the biggest holdup. A to C pursuit, C block shed. Going to obviously be a D end in our scheme. And he tested pretty good for a D end type guy, but I just don't really like throwing darts at this point in the draft. I'd rather go for someone we have more scouted, like Matthew Torrance or maybe Javon Kinney, who could play D tackle. Even Manny Flanagan. As the 49ers go, Lorenzo Childs, another offensive tackle. So they signed Jedrick Wills Jr., and they also drafted tackle here in the first round, really shoring up that offensive line. As now Cincinnati on the clock at 28, and they go with Kareem Armstead, a player we had graded as a first to second round pick. Now Miami, they go Gerald Kidd, a D tackle who didn't test due to injury, but had very good grades. Now Philadelphia, as they take a receiver, Calvin Presley. And now Seattle, the defending NFC champions, they go with Glenn Hancock. And now the Super Bowl champions here in our franchise, the Baltimore Ravens. And we don't get to see who they selected, but it should pop up there on the top right. So 3 more picks to go, and we're up at 36. Baltimore selected, let's see, Larry Gaddis, guard there out of Alabama. Good power guard there for their scheme. As now Tennessee, first team up here, will sim their pick. And they go with Connor Carroll, so that makes it a little bit easier for us. Although now we have to wait for the Raiders and Commanders and just hope that they don't select Matthew Torrance. I think he's our guy. I really like Javon Kinney here as well. And Manny Flanagan, 2 guys who could play D tackle for us. But Matthew Torrance, I think he's kind of a Swiss Army knife there on the back end. And I think he could provide so much to the defense, which is kind of something we need. And Las Vegas goes there with Georgia Drummond. So it all comes down to Washington. Hopefully they don't snipe us as they go Steve Goodwell, a pass rusher who kind of slid down the board out of Oklahoma. He was projected to go earlier, but here, as Washington gets kind of a steal, we'll review some offers, see what they're sending us. Seattle wants to give us a first in 2027, but I think we'll likely stand pat with this second-round pick. LA wants to give us a pair of 2s. San Fran wants to give us a 1. The Eagles want to give us a 1. But we're going to stand pat here with this second-round pick, and we're going to take Matthew Torrance, someone we spent our super focused scouting on during the season. And he did have a draft headline about him saying that he wasn't really playing well, as Auburn had him playing at corner, but we're going to have him as a safety, maybe in the slot a little bit as our nickel guy, but someone who can move all around the defense, play back in zone, up in the box, up on the line, blitz a little bit. As a 4.45 safety with 18 reps, the highest vertical jump, lowest 20-yard shuttle, and a good 3-cone as well. Skills: B, block shed and awareness and pursuit. A, hit power. B, tackle. C, play rec, man, and zone. Can really do everything there on defense. So Matthew Torrance is going to be the pick here for the Salt Lake City Snowhawks at 36 overall, the 4th pick here in the second round, as we start with Lucas McDonald, quarterback, and now Matthew Torrance, safety. And you see there the war room, also our Salt Lake City Snowhawks, John Gruden. Doesn't really look like Gruden, but we didn't have many options to choose from. It was kind of hard to find his likeness. As you see there, Torrance holding up the hat. And this one not as good as McDonald. He was ranked 44 in true value, and we drafted him at 36, 8 spots ahead. And it says his film is filled with massive hits. Can definitely lay the wood, quick to digest and respond in zone coverage, and wrap up and drag down tackler. Player profile: he has hidden dev though, and we'll take that all day. 90 acceleration, agility, 91 jumping and speed, 66 strength. As the Patriots select Chris Gonzalez. So they have Christian Gonzalez and Chris Gonzalez now on defense, as we now have our safety and 2 players now in this class with hidden dev. The Browns there go Emmett Dalton, another quarterback. So that's the 3rd quarterback off the board, as now the Falcons on the clock. We'll sim ahead a little bit quicker here in the second round, as we'll try to set up a quicker finish in this episode, as our next pick is at 68, so quite a bit to go. I think 27 spots. Vince Willis there to the Bears, the top running back in this draft, as they pick back-to-back here. Now 42 and 43, they go Willis, and then a left tackle there, Demario Cooks. Chargers go Javon Kinney, who we had on our board as a very good player, as now at 45, the Colts go with Bill Arnold, another running back here. We'll take a look at our board, maybe see if we want to trade up for anybody, as Javon Kinney, totally forgot about him. Maybe he was someone we might have traded up for. As I think we actually might just stand pat where we're at. Mainly Flanagan would be nice, D tackle, but a lot of corners here that we maybe want to make a run at. Obviously, probably the weakest spot on our team. So Leonard Harris here, projected first, second rounder. Antonio Whitfield, Chris Clifford here, projected rounds 2 to 3. If they're available, maybe we take a run at them with our early pick there in the 3rd round. Let's just get pick by pick here. Carolina goes with a corner. And Leonard Harris there to the Jaguars. So one of our corners we were eyeing up off the board. And Corbin Childress there to the Steelers as they take a quarterback. I think they're going to let Justin Fields, lead the show this season, but Corbin Childress, someone who had a draft story, a former 5-star recruit out of Louisville, just really, struggled to put it together there and didn't have, the kind of career that they thought he would. They thought he was going to be maybe a first-round pick, but he ends up here middle of the second round, kind of like a Christian Hackenberg, I feel like, situation. Now at pick 51, the Giants go Enrique Williams. Manny Flanagan there to the Texans, so we're going to miss out on Flanagan as well. Antonio Whitfield to the Jets. A few of our guys here. As Buffalo, their second pick in this second round, they go with another offensive lineman. Tampa Bay, they go Jimmy Perriman, as we're going to have their first rounder next year. Archer Quincy to the Lions, a former rugby player, the strongest player on the offensive line in this year's draft. I think 44 reps on the bench. A couple of running backs there to the Chiefs and 49ers. Wade Boone to the Bengals. He had a draft story on him that said he did the physical testing at his pro day and then just walked off the field before he could do drills. Back-to-back safeties there to the Dolphins and Eagles. Seahawks go Maxie Yates at corner. And now Baltimore, the Super Bowl champs, as it did. The board turns over so we can't see who they take until it flips over there at the top. So we're here at 68, pick 4 in the third round, as they went with Roy Newman, safety out of Michigan. Kansas City here, the first pick in this third round. And going over to favorites, looks like Chris Clifford, maybe our top guy. But again, all these guys, not fully scouted. All of them at 60%. And Clifford being the only corner we have in this vicinity. But he has F-press D-zone. And he tested pretty good, though. But with that lack of scouting and, nothing overpowering traits-wise, I don't know if he's the pick for us either. I think maybe a trade down in this spot wouldn't be bad, as the Chiefs do select to go Tony Shaw out of Penn State. We have a couple tight ends here in Sanford and Curry. And Curry had a draft story about him saying how well he tested. Their traits, nothing over the top, both D for short route running. Nothing crazy for blocking either. A run block there for Sanford, though. That is pretty good. We do have some tight ends we're targeting later on. Also said we might want to make a trade for Isaiah Likely. So I think maybe here early on in the third, we could stand to trade down. I like a lot of these linebackers later on. I like a lot of these linemen later on, if they're in the third and fourth round, late third, early fourth round. Although, Samuels and Buckley here both have first to second round talent grades. So I wouldn't even mind taking them early on here in the third round. But if we can add more picks for next year's draft, even this year's draft, I'm all for that. As I don't mind some of these late round options, especially at corner. I think at this point we're not going to get a corner who's going to, put our corner room over the top. So that's maybe another area we might have to seek in trade, because I don't think Chris Clifford here is the best value at the top of this third round. So I think we might seek a trade. If we could pick up a 2 for next year, I would definitely take that. As Saints do go Greg Sanford there at tight end. That A-run blocking, pretty good athlete as well. Good pick there for New Orleans. As we'll see what we're getting offered. We have a bunch of offers here. Let's go from right to left this time. Not going to take that from the Colts. The Eagles, again, offering us a trade. A 2 and a 5 next year. A 7 this year. But I'd like to, recoup at least a late third, early fourth in this year's draft if we can. As Vegas will give us pick 85. So that's dropping like 17 spots to get a 6 and a 7. I don't know if that's really all that worth it. Baltimore is offering us a 2 for next year, though, which I do like. Same with Seattle, but I don't really know if we want to trade with a division rival. And then Tennessee puts together a pretty respectable package, giving us 127 this year, plus a 3 and 7 next year, and then a 6 the year after that. So 4 picks for 1. And that third rounder could be, even to what this third rounder is. Then Minnesota will give us 2 third rounders in the future. We'll back out, see how. Oh, we have 5 seconds, so that's great. Just in time to pause that. I wonder what would have happened. I guess they would have just selected the top player on our board. So, looking over these picks again, I really would like to get a 2 for next year, but I really would like to add, another mid-round pick this year instead. So I think Vegas here, a 3, a 6, and a 7. I really even, like those later round picks, as that'll give us 85 and 87 that we got from Tampa Bay. Otherwise, I wouldn't even mind going a straight up 2 here with Jacksonville. That should be pretty high up the board next year, giving up 68 for what's probably going to be like pick 40 in next year's draft. And a couple other 2s here from Philly, San Fran. Those are going to be late second rounders, which is why they throw in that 5 and 7 at the end. Not going to take Indy. So even that offer from Green Bay, I like Vegas, I think, the best a 3, 6, and 7. We'll drop here like 17 spots. We'll pick up 2 extra picks in the later goings. Guys who can maybe fill out our roster. So I think that's what we're going to do. As much as I would like to pick up a 2 for next year, give us an extra 2 and an extra 1, I think we'll add some more quantity this year. So that's now 2 trades in this draft, just really racking up the picks. As Vegas did select a couple picks earlier, and now they'll select again one safety before. Now they go DN there and Tyrone Middlebrooks. Now we are up at 87 as they go Ernest Hodgins there, the Patriots. We had him on our board. We'll just Damian Curry there to the Falcons. He was tempting. Just send him ahead here to pick 87 as the Bears go with Nelson Hill, a linebacker we were kind of eyeing up. Now at pick 77, the Colts go with the guard. The Rams go with the quarterback there, Will Evans. So I think, what is that, the 3rd or 4th quarterback? Selected Larry Whitehead to the Jags. They have back-to-back picks here. They go linebacker, then guard, Eric Hammond. He was one of those guards who rose up the draft board after we scouted him, sitting there with Travis Rushing. So we're seeing a run here on guards as they're Ron McMahon now. So 3 more picks. Oh, no, we have the next pick here. We have 85. So here's Houston as they go with Kirk Buckley. So I think here we're going to take one of those offensive linemen we were eyeing up, as there's just a big run on those here towards the end of the 3rd round. And Clifford is actually still on the board here. But I think we got to go with Randy Samuels. We got to kind of follow suit here with this run on offensive lineman. A, awareness and impact block. B, pass block. C, run block. Tested very well in the 3-cone, 20-yard shuttle, vertical, broad, and bench press. Not the best 40 time, but you don't need that when you have A, awareness, impact, lead block. B, pass block, and finesse. A, run block, finesse. Really his only detriment right now is pass block power there at D, but very good athlete, very good traits. And Randy Samuels, someone who could maybe start this season as we select him 85th overall, the 3rd pick here in this draft for us. We have another pick, not this one coming up, but the one after, as that'll be 87 overall. So there we see Randy Samuels. We get B for a good pick, even though he was 29 in true value. We get him at 85. Perfect fit for zone blocking scheme, gets caught blocking air at times, and is he strong enough? I think he is. Love the get up there, that baby blue, whatever you want to call it, that vest looking sharp Randy Samuels, as we have another hidden dev. All 3 picks so far hidden dev, and 91 strength, so I think he is strong enough as we hit on another draft pick here. And as I said, I think Randy Samuels is going to be a starter next season, as we'll now simulate this Cleveland pick. As they're sandwiched between us, they go Leonard May there at middle linebacker. So I think now that's maybe the time for us to pick a linebacker. Kind of missed out on Nelson Hill there to Chicago. Really liked him, as now we would have a few to choose from here in D'Angelo Porter, Texas A&M, DeMarco Langford out of Ohio State, and all these outside linebackers as well here. Chris Poe, Kevin Knox, Brent Aldridge, and Neil Abraham. We also have a corner and a couple D tackles here as well, who I also like. So we have 87 here. Then we also have pick 100. So with all these linebackers, we might even be able to hold off on a linebacker. Maybe take Kitchens here, this corner. C, catching man, B, press, D zone, 5'11", 208. And he tested very well. I mean, 4.42, 15 reps, top 5 in the vertical, top 10 in the broad, 3-cone. For skills, though, B, press, C, man, and play rec, C, tackle, C, catching. That block shed is going to be at least a C with D zone. And A to B, kick return. So Dak Kitchens, someone I'm pretty intrigued by right here. Let's go to the overall board, though, not our favorite, see where these guys line up. So I think we're honestly out on Chris Clifford. I'm not sure what we really saw in him in the first place. I think we like that slot archetype, but we're going to go ahead and just, not draft him. We wanted to remove him, but I guess we can't remove anyone from the board at this point. So that means Dak Kitchens is the top player on our board based on the overall board here. Then Isaiah Maben, let's take a look at his player card. B, block shed, A, tackle, C, power move at 6'3", 359. This dude is an absolute unit. 44 reps, the most of any D tackle, with a very explosive broad jump there. Isaiah Maben, C, power move, B, block shed, A, play rec. I do like him. That dude is absolutely huge. 360 pounds there on the interior. And then we had another D tackle option, I think, here in Caleb Patton. And he's quite the opposite, 6'3", 286, a speed rusher. Although he has that F power move. I hate seeing Fs on these player grades. The fastest 40-yard dash for any D tackle. Very good vert. 3-cone and 20-yard shuttle with A, play rec, B, impact block. The finesse move at least a C. But I think I like the other player better, even though we're more in need of a pass rushing defensive tackle than a run stopping one. I really like Maven's skill set there and his athletic profile. So I think these linebackers, being down the board a little bit more, we can kind of hold off on linebacker. So I think here it's either corner or D tackle. I think we go corner, maybe go Dak Kitchens here, and then I think we can kind of monitor Maven and Patton, and if one goes off the board, we can maybe work a trade up to snag the other one. So I think Dak Kitchens is the pick here over Chris Clifford. I do want to compare these guys if we can. So they're both man-to-man, both have C for play rec. Actually, Clifford has better man coverage. Both have D zone. F press for Clifford, B press for Dak Kitchens. And I think he was a better athlete and he even had some return potential. So I think Dak Kitchens here will get a corner out of this draft. 5'11", 208, 22 years old, out of Oklahoma. And so that'll be the fourth pick, along with Randy Samuels, Matthew Torrance, and quarterback Lucas McDonald, as we add a corner in this year's draft. So 2 offense, 2 defense so far, although both picks on defense have been in the secondary, and that was by far our weakness. I think we were 31st in pass defense, and they call that an average pick. He was actually ranked 141, so not a good one that time. And it says he's faster on tape, slow to react to developing plays, needs to improve man coverage technique, and he is just normal dev as you would expect. 93 speed, 90 jumping, 92 acceleration, 88 agility. So a good athlete, as advertised, but does need, to round out his game a little bit. So I don't want to say a miss, but not as good as maybe our earlier picks there. But, getting later into the draft, they're not all going to be that great. And corner was really starting to thin out as the Jets there go. Chris Poe, one of the linebackers I was eyeing up. And then Brett Aldridge to the Packers. So a big run now on linebacker as the Chiefs go Kevin Knox. That was like all 3 of our guys, as our strategy just really did not work out there. We thought at least one of those guys were going to slip. We still have Porter, Langford, and Abraham at least. And we did sign like 3 linebackers, so not as pressing of a need, but I really would have liked to add one of those younger guys. But still, we have our linebackers, our D tackles here to choose from, as we now have pick 100 to look forward to. We're now here at 91. And we'll see if the San Fran, they go Maidman, so that was our D tackle that we were kind of eyeing up. So now at this point, do we try and trade up? As we simmed ahead one more, do we try and trade up there for that D tackle? We were eyeing up Patton, as he's probably our last D tackle that we have favorited on our board, as he is. We have a day 3 guy all the way down here, though. A couple corners later on, some other edge rushers, D tackles, tight ends, linebackers. So I think Patton being the last D tackle that's kind of on our board. And we really do need a speed rusher, one of these guys to get after the quarterback. And he tested very, very well. So I think we try and work a trade up here with the Eagles, or I don't know, maybe just sit pat, see what kind of falls into our laps. I think we're just going to send it. We'll just see what happens. The Eagles there go Zach Williams, running back. Now back-to-back picks. They go Brett Meredith, an offensive lineman. Now Seattle. They go Clark Brinks, guard. And now Baltimore here to round out the 3rd round. We'll see what the notification says when it pops up who they went with, as they selected Travis Weldon out of Texas, tight end. So now here in the 4th round, we're getting there, folks. We're getting towards the end of the episode. I know this was a super long one, but we are almost there, as we're at pick 97. And I think we're just going to let it ride here, see if we can maybe get Patton. I guess he would be the guy here. Maybe one of these linebackers too, though. I don't know. We got to see, I guess, who's there. As we'll skip ahead, we'll sim this Tennessee pick. They go with a safety. And now Vegas, they go Chris Clifford. So there's Clifford. He goes at 98 to the Raiders. Now the Saints, 99th overall, they go D'Angelo Porter, one of those linebackers. So I think here we could go D tackle or linebacker, as we only have like one more linebacker to choose from, I think, or we have 2 here in DeMarco Langford and Neil Abraham. Also have down here John Romero, day 3 guy who didn't work out at the combine, but I think he does have good grades. B block shed, A tackle, C zone. At his pro day, though, very good vertical jump, not the best 40. Really didn't test all that well at his pro day. But A tackle, B block shed, A hit power, C man, C zone, B play rec. So I think he's a linebacker like day 3. Maybe the 4th round we can maybe wait on instead of, maybe going DeMarco Langford up here at 6'2", 249. B block shed and tackle. Looks like just quick glance did test better than Romero. Definitely faster by a little bit, but Romero might be the better football player. You can't just go all based on the combine. I really liked Neil Abraham here as well with that A pursuit, A zone coverage. He didn't really test that great, but the 3-cone and the 20-yard shuttle are great. Vertical jump was great. and he's going to be maybe one of the best role, like coverage linebackers in the league. And then we have Patton here as well. So I think we could hold off on one of the linebackers, maybe just wait for Romero a little bit later on. Patton, though, I think might be the pick here at D tackle. Don't have any other D tackles on our board aside from that one guy later on, Eric Alden. I hate the F power move. If it was even a D, I would feel so much better. Again, we'll look at his traits. Very good 40-yard dash, and every other area pretty good as well. We need that speed guy on the interior. Has A, play rec, B, impact, B, awareness, at least a C finesse move. You really hope it's higher than that, and you hope the block shed is not an F, but we'll send it here. Caleb Patton, D tackle out of San Diego State, and I really hope that block shed is better than an F. That would really be detrimental, I think, for his skill set, as he doesn't even have a power move. He'd just be really one-dimensional with that speed rush. But we will see here shortly as Caleb Patton, 112 in true value. We got him at 100, so not too far off. Speed moves will stress offensive linemen, high football IQ, but needs to improve strength. Has hidden development. So we got the hidden dev here on the D tackle. You love to see it. 75 speed, 86 strength, 81 acceleration. So is that 4 out of our 5 picks or 3 out of our 5 picks now have had hidden development? And we'll definitely take that for our inaugural NFL draft class. So that was Caleb Patton at pick 100. And I think now at this point we might be ready to just start simming the round entirely. I don't really see us, working any trades. Although I would like to monitor these linebackers and these tight ends. So I think we will actually just sim pick by pick still, as we do have 132 in the 132 in the 5th round. I might even just skip ahead in editing to, and there goes the tight end George Swede. So that was one of the tight ends I was eyeing up here later on, as now we only have Bibbs left to choose from. Cortez Bibbs here, vertical threat. But if Abraham, Langford, or Romero are on the board for us, they're at pick 132 in the 5th. Definitely going to be where we go, but want to make sure that all of them stay on the board. Falcons go receiver, Saints go Lamar Hales, a running back. And there goes Neil Abraham there to the Panthers. So now we kind of just have 2 more linebackers that we're monitoring. And if one goes off the board, I think we'll definitely trade for the other. As Michael Valdez there, quarterback out of Yale, who I talked about, goes there at 108 to the Chargers. I'm interested to see what his development looks like. DeMarcus Wood in there goes to the Colts at 109. He rose up draft boards dramatically from like a late round guy to a potential first, second round guy, but falls here in the 4th round. Jags go corner Antonio Flowers, back-to-back picks. They go with a linebacker after that. And the Giants, there go John Romero. As we're now down to just one more linebacker we were kind of eyeing up. That being here DeMarco Langford. A huge run on linebackers. And Langford has that B block shed, B tackle, at least a D in zone, C pursuit. And he tested pretty well, all things considered. Nothing over the top, but not a bad athlete by any means. With A, awareness, B, block shed, play rec, and tackle. B, impact block, C, pursuit. So a pretty balanced linebacker. Definitely fits that field general archetype. And you like that size at 6'2", 249, just 21 years old, out of Ohio State. And I think he actually just went off the board as he did there to Houston. Round 4, pick 20, as those linebackers all go off the board. So we miss out on bringing in a potential impact linebacker, and that kind of really diminishes our board at this point. We still have like 6 more picks, 3 in the 7th, I think 2 in the 6th, 1 here in the 5th. And we really should have tried, working some trades for those linebackers, but just got, a little reluctant, I guess, as now I think we are set to just advance to the next round. We won't hold this up any longer. We'll advance to next round as we have no more here in the 4th. And we're now here in the 5th round at 129 overall. The Tennessee Titans on the clock as our favorites. Yeah, it really has diminished here. We have a couple pass rushers we can maybe go for. 2 speed rushers here, power rusher, and Josh Bautista. Only D block shed though, D finesse, B power move. Testing nothing really over the top, but maybe someone to go play D tackle at 6'3", 278. Kick inside in sub packages, play outside in the base defense. Otherwise, Cortez Bibbs here at tight end. A to C catching traffic, B to D catching with B deep route, C run block, C short route, C spec catch, B deep, B break tackle. So I think Cortez Bibbs, he actually had the fastest 40 and the best vertical jump of any tight end at the combine, and tested, in the higher percentile in pretty much each category. Elite strength for a tight end, it says. So I'm kind of buying in now to Cortez Bibbs at 132, and then maybe someone like Batista, Amaro, Dorsey a little bit later, or one of these corners, Kamal Carr, Garrison Jones. So I think I did talk myself into that tight end pick. We'll skip here through Vegas as I go Kerry Tatum, and now Washington as I pick Edward Mixon, running back. So watch out for Edward Mixon. And now we'll make our selection here at 132 overall in the 5th round. As we're going to go with Cortez Bibbs, tight end out of Penn State. Very good athlete, vertical threat, 6'2", 249. And he was ranked at 182, so not the best pick. And we drafted him at 132, so reached on him by about 50. But we love that. Hands made of glue, receiver speed at tight end, strong hands to make catches through contact. Does not have that hidden dev, but you love the 85 speed for a tight end with 77 strength. Pretty good there. Decent acceleration and agility. And he's going to offer a little bit as a blocker as well, which you love to see from a receiving tight end. So another pick down. 5 more to go for our Snowhawks. Again, we'll just advance to next round. Only 2 more now left as we have the 2nd and 4th pick now in this round 6. Maybe going to trade one of them for a future pick as our board really did diminish here. We have Ben Amaro, Kamal Carr here at the top, Garrison Jones, Kyrie Cherry, and Eric Alden. So we have 5 draftable prospects still on our board with 5 picks remaining in this draft. And none of these guys, even at the top of the board at this point. Kamal Carr is the highest rated up there. C catching, C man, C zone. So a balanced corner at 21 years old. And look at that testing. 4.37 40, 11 reps, which was 8th for corners. And he was top 5 in vertical and broad jump. A good 3-cone, a respectable 20-yard shuttle there. And his traits aren't all that bad. The block shed is going to be at least a D. C man, end zone with D play rec. Not bad, for a late round corner with a lot of athleticism who can maybe provide something on your kick return team. There's also Kyrie Cherry here. Let's pause this. I think we might even make 2 selections here in the top of the 6th round. What would we get if we wanted to trade one though? A 6 and 7, a 5 and 7, 5 and 7. I think I might take a 5 and 7 next year for this early 6th round pick. Maybe that package there from Green Bay or Vegas. But let's go back to our board, see how I think we had a pass rusher up there as well, see how he's looking. So Ben Amaro, actually, we do have graded as a day 3 talent. Only D block shed, D power move, but B finesse move. And he tested very well. The highest 20-yard shuttle at the combine at his position. Good 3-cone vertical jump and a good 40 with B finesse move, C awareness, play rec, and pursuit. So not a bad pass rusher to just, bring into the rotation. But I don't know if I really like him more than Kamal Carr or even Kyrie Cherry here. We already did draft a safety, B hit power. So he's definitely a box safety at 23 years old out of Butler. His testing, nothing over the top, so I'm not really in on Kyrie Cherry at this point. So I think if we use our 2 picks, we can go Amaro and Kamal Carr here. But what about Garrison Jones here, another corner? D press and zone, man coverage there, C to F. And he had the highest 40-yard dash, 2nd highest vert, highest 3-cone. So both he and Carr, very good athletes. So I think maybe we just go Amaro and then take Carr or Jones, battle it out at that point. Carr has risen 24 spots on the overall boards. Compare him here to Jones. Jones has better catching, but play rec even. Jones, C tackle. Nothing really else on coverage. C man, C zone for Kamal Carr. So he has better zone than Jones and better return as well. But I think we'll go Ben Amaro, add another pass rusher into our DN unit. And then we'll go with one of those corners after. So Ben Amaro out of, what was it, Texas Tech, I think? I could be wrong on that. 184 in true value. We drafted him at 162. Must become stronger in the NFL. Can be invisible in run game at times. And finesse move needs work. So not the best pick here, but 84 speed. And he was out of Buffalo, not Texas Tech. 74 strength. So maybe not the best pick there with Amaro. But, here at in the 6th round, you're not going to get, superstars. As we'll send this New Orleans pick, they go Tony Turbin, a linebacker. As now we can go with one of those corners if we don't want to trade and pick up a couple picks for next year. That 5 and 7 from Vegas is pretty tempting. I definitely like it more there than the Packers offer. I think we'll just take this deal from Vegas. We still have 3 more picks there in the 7th, so we'll be able to bring in more depth. So we'll make another trade here as we acquire a 5 and 7 for next year. And the Raiders use this pick to select Bradley Swain, wide receiver. As now we have about 30 more picks until our next pick. I don't know if maybe we should just package. We have 3 7s. I think we could package those 7s and maybe trade up for Carr or Garrison Jones. I really did like Carr, honestly. I liked his athleticism, but I like how we were able to get a 5 for next year and a 7 for next year. So maybe we'll sim ahead a few picks and then maybe try and work a trade up for Kamal Carr, even though we did draft a corner already. As at 166 there, Jimmy Garcia. I think he was an undrafted guy, but came back with a draftable grade, and we see him here in the 6th round. We'll go to like Cleveland, and then we'll try and trade up with Cleveland. Give them, oh, Kamal Carr there to the Rams. We did not get it. We got a little too overzealous. We got to, it's all a learning experience that we learn next year now. If we want to get our guy, we really got to go up for him, as I think Carr might be a good player. But now at this point, I mean, we might try and work a trade for Garrison Jones, but I was not as high on him as I was on Kamal Carr. So we'll just advance here into the 6th round. Try not to drag this out any further, as we have 194, 197, and 215 here. I can't imagine we have, much left on our board besides those undrafted guys. And Garrison Jones still on the board, so looks like we could take him, maybe even Kyrie Cherry and Eric Alden here as well. So we'll send this New England pick. Hopefully they don't take Garrison Jones. That would be something. They take Rashad Collins, middle linebacker. So now we'll take another corner here. It's not Kamal Carr, but still a guy we kind of like here in the 7th round. Garrison Jones at a UCF, going to be the pick, another corner. As he was 142 in true value, we drafted him at 194, so a good value this time. Concerned about his speed, shows good instincts. Sometimes loses receivers in man coverage. But you love that 95 acceleration, 93 speed. Not strong, though, just 48 strength. So I'm going to compete for a roster spot, more than likely on the practice squad, but you'll take that out of a 7th round pick. As now just 2 more picks here for our Snowhawks, as we are back on the clock. I don't know if it's even worth it taking someone here. We'll take a look. And there's still Isaiah Cohen here, free safety, 102 on the overall board, but still here in the late goings of the draft. Did not really, I mean, he didn't test bad, but nothing great. His traits, nothing great, so I guess I see why he's still available. So it brings us here to Kyrie Cherry or Eric Alden. We drafted a speed rusher at D tackle. Now we have a chance to get a run stopper, C at block shed, finesse, and power move. And he tested in the top 10 for every category among D tackles. So I think we'll just throw a flyer here at Eric Alden. Although Kyrie Cherry is higher rated on the overall board. A decent run support safety with 22 reps. Very good, for a safety. Highest broad jump of all the strong safeties. But I think we'll go with the D tackle. Just add more depth in that spot. Eric Alden here out of LSU, run stopping D tackle, as he came at 331 in true value. So we reached on him by over 100. We'll need to hit the weight room, struggles to disengage from blocks, ineffective speed rusher, 72 speed, 84 strength. So I don't know if Eric Alden really, has a roster spot in his future, but we will see. Maybe should have traded that one. And now we'll just skip ahead here to 215. And maybe here we make a trade. We'll see if anyone kind of tickles our fancy at this spot. So Kyrie Cherry's still there, but we have some guys here in UDFA. We had one player here, Ty Eubanks, came back with a day 3 grade, 6'4", 344. Definitely not a scheme fit, but at this stage in the draft, if he can, add value with that C pass block, C run block, B awareness, impact going to be at A or B. And he had the best 40-yard dash at 344 pounds. And he had 34 bench reps. So he had the highest reps and the highest 40-yard dash with a decent 3-cone and 20-yard shuttle. So I think Ty Eubanks here out of Florida, even though he's projected to go undrafted, he does have that day 3 grade. So I think we'll just round out our draft with him, as we doubled up on offensive line, on corners. And he was ranked 174 in true value, drafted him at 215. So good value, strong hands, and drive evident in power run concepts, which doesn't really bode well for our scheme, but we'll try and make it work. Sometimes fooled by pressure schemes, strength coach will be his best friend. Already has 89 strength, though, 70 speed. So Ty Eubanks, welcome to the Salt Lake City Snowhawks. And to everybody else in this inaugural rookie class, welcome to the Snowhawks. Hopefully you're part of something special here, as I'm honestly even more excited for next year's draft, just based on the picks we were able to acquire. A 1st and 3rd and 7 from Tampa Bay, a 5 and a 7 from Vegas, as that now equips us with 12 picks, but it also does give us some ammo to maybe work a trade for Isaiah Likely, as we said. But overall, we're very pleased with this draft. The first one I've really conducted here on Madden, kind of in depth, generating the draft board all on my own, kind of going through prospects. I love doing it. and I could really spend so much more time talking about it. I know we've already been here maybe close to 2 hours at this point, so hopefully you didn't get swayed away from this channel, based on this very long episode here in the draft. But I can totally just geek out on this stuff forever, and I'm happy we finally got to do this here with the Salt Lake City Snowhawks. So we'll sim ahead here, see who Mr. Irrelevant is. Keep note of that. San Fran goes Glenn Bowens, Carlos Candidate, a quarterback here late to the Panthers. Chicago goes with a guard, as we're now here in the last final 4 picks. A wide receiver. Now the Steelers, they go Paul Russell. Seattle, the NFC champs, go with Dante Davis. And now Baltimore, the Super Bowl champs, and we don't get to see their pick. But this is our first look at our draft class. We see here Lucas McDonald, 23rd overall with that hidden dev, 77. There for deep accuracy, under pressure awareness. And we're very excited here about Lucas McDonald. Going to be electric under center. And it'd be something if he has that X Factor dev to go along with Marvin Harrison Jr. Then Matthew Torrance there in the 2nd round. Safety out of Auburn, also hidden dev. Very well balanced, can contribute in a number of ways. 75 zone, 84 hit power, 77 pursuit. And a good athlete with 91 speed, 90 acceleration. The block shed, though, you want to get a little bit better. But as I said, a versatile safety could really fit any of those archetypes. And we'll try to get him as a scheme fit. So good start there. 2 hidden dev guys, 77 and 74. And then we get Randy Samuels here at 75 overall. Another hidden dev. So we started 3 hidden devs in our first draft. 91 strength, 87 lead block, and 89 impact. Definitely going to need some work, there in the power category, but well-rounded as a blocker. And a lot of potential here. 23 years old out of South Carolina. So 3 rookies, all hidden dev, mid to high 70s. And then we got Dak Kitchens, only 69 overall. As you know, we started to veer off there, the talent level in this year's class. 93 speed, 92 acceleration, 69 man, 64 zone, high press and play rec there, both in the low 70s. So Dak Kitchens, maybe someone, a return man early on, a depth corner. And I want to see how he compares to Carr, the one we were kind of looking at there in the later stages. Then we had Caleb Patton, a 71 overall speed rusher, hidden dev. So 4 hidden devs in this draft class, as he has a good strength and speed combo, 86, 75 respectively, with a 77 finesse, tackle, and play rec. 81 acceleration, pretty good there for a D tackle. So that's 4 hidden devs on our first 5 picks. And we had 10 picks overall. So now the last 5 here, we have Cortez Bibbs in the 5th round, tight end at a Penn State, 67 overall, 85 speed, good catching traffic, spec catch. The route running not horrible to start with, and the blocking not horrible either. So I think he'll be a well-rounded tight end as he kind of hits his prime, someone who could be a solid number 2. And then we have Ben Amaro here at 67 overall, speed rusher, really one-dimensional in that area. Needs to add a little bit of block shed, maybe even a little bit power move as well. But 67 overall there in the 5th round, I think you'll certainly take that. As now here in the 7th round, we had Garrison Jones at 68 overall, only 1 overall point lower than Dak Kitchens, who we selected earlier. 93 speed, 95 acceleration. The agility, though, not that great. Man and zone, both there in the mid to high 60s. So definitely, a profile to work off of. I think he and Kitchens can both be decent depth corners, maybe fill in at times. As Jones was one of 3 7th round draft picks. Also had Eric Alden here, just 62 overall. Might not make it. And then we finished it off here with Ty Eubanks, 67 overall there at the end of the 7th round. 89 strength, 77 lead block, 88 impact. But those finesse ratings are definitely going to need some work. But this is where I'm going to leave you, folks. Thank you so much for watching. It was really a pleasure to go through this offseason with you. I know it was a long one, very meticulous. It took a lot of time, but as I've stressed throughout this episode, I'm really into going through these franchises slowly but surely, really being meticulous, being thorough with the players you decide to bring into your team. As you know, you're building a foundation, a winning culture, so every player that you bring in is all that more important, especially as you go along. But I think we did a tremendous job. Let me know how you think we did in this first offseason, and I'm really, really excited for the next year's offseason, as hopefully the free agent class, with all the money we have to work with, pays off to our benefit. But as always, everybody, it's been real, and be well. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.